Okay, so the Fujitsu 2312 is currently set up in soft sector mode. I have a toggle switch that I can switch back and forth between soft sector and hard sector. So I've got it in soft sector. I've got it set up as a 2311, not a 2312. So it's a 40 megabyte drive. The Emulex card is set up for that, also set up for a 2311, and set up to turn my Fujitsu 2311 into 3 RK06 drives. I've been working with second hiccup. All right. Well, yeah, I'm sure they're coming. I've been working with Mark. We cisgen. So I've also got a Unibone in there as well. On the Unibone, there is an install. There's a couple of installs of RSX11M. So I'm using RSX11M. But it's not like it wasn't cisgened for RK drives. So we did a new cisgen for 3 RK06 drives. So I can boot into that RSX11M using the Unibone, and I can see my 3 RK06 drives. I can allocate them, but the second I try to initialize them, it gives me an error and says disk is an alignment cartridge. And it does that for all 3 RK06 drives. I've tried reformatting the drives. I've tried hard sector. I've tried soft sector. The situation is the same for all instances. Now, I could format this as an RK07, so that might be something that will try tonight, is reformat the drive, kick it up to 2312, see if we can get that to work, reformat it as an RK07, 2 RK07s, and then see how the Emulex presents the RK07s to RSX. But I don't know if I don't know if the drivers in RSX11M will see an RK07, because we kind of set them up for RK06s, I think. I don't know enough about RSX11 to know for sure.
Okay. First, just for the sake of warning, RKO4, 5, and then RKO6, 7 are 2 entirely different and incompatible controllers.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So be careful when it asks you about RK drives. You have to make sure it's specifically asking about 6 and 7.
Yeah, so we absolutely have the RK06 drivers in, because when you do a display the devices in RSX, it shows it as RK06 unloaded, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it recognizes it as an RK06, specifically in a 6. And we've got the DM drivers in RSX set up for that. Like I said, I've been working with Mark about this, and he knows a lot about RSX. So he got the sysgen set up correctly he walked me through the sysgen to get it set up correctly for RK06s.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is that I'm not entirely certain how it would identify the alignment pack. Probably by expecting a missing sector pulse. You may have to do something specific to your Emulex card to initialize the drive before you can use it.
So Mark did some reading, and he thinks that they're determining whether it's an alignment pack or not by inspecting the last track. Like apparently there's a specific bit pattern written on the last track or something along those lines. Dave Avery, we tried running the format program. There's 2 format programs. There's the format utility that's built into the Emulex card that we run to kind of get the drives visible within the operating system. That one's entirely possible that it's not hitting the last track that identifies it as an alignment pack. The other format program is within RSX, and we can't run it because it thinks it's an alignment pack.
But
Okay. Another thing to try would be. Oh, I stepped up.
no. Sorry. I I really wonder if we load XXDP with the Unibone and then figure out how to mod the format program if it will work, and then you can format it with RSX11. If it will write those sectors, the alignment pack sectors, because the there's clearly a mod that you need to do for XXDP, but I have no idea if that is relevant to the RSX11 format program.
So yeah, we were able to initialize the disk as an RT disk, as an RT11 disk, within RSX, and that seemed to, work.
Okay.
But we tried booting into RT11, and that caused the Emulex disk controller card to error out. So I don't know what that means.
Odd.
That's what I was going to ask you to do next, was to boot RT11 and see, because the RT11 low-level formatter has an option to overwrite the bad block list on the last track.
So
And,
okay, so we can. This is lack of information because I've been going sun up to sundown for the last 6 days.
Oh,
Yeah. So we can actually run the bad block program within RSX, and it successfully finds all the bad blocks and writes the bad block table.
that's good.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's probably not clobbering that. The other thing that bothers me is that if it's something the Emulex formatter is doing, then remember that you have 3 duplicates of the quote unquote final track, because your drive is acting as 3 drives.
Yes.
Oh, that may be an issue.
Now,
Huh.
well, which Emulex is this?
An SC12. If you give me a minute, I can drop the. Let me get Discord fired up on this laptop. I can drop the manual for the card and for the drive into Discord here.
They're already on the PDP-11 supercomputer channel.
That and I already have the SC12 manual from someone else's machine. I don't remember.
Too short.
I don't remember whose. 2017. Who was I talking to? Anyway.
Good Lord. It's just update after update after update. Yes, okay, Discord, you can download your new update on this Linux laptop.
It's Discord. Let's update every time you launch it.
That's what it feels like, man.
It's probably once a day, but yeah.
I do like once every week or so. Anyway.
Yeah, but it makes you download the deb file from.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they can't just publish like an app repository for it.
All right, we're gonna see if the Unibone can work in 3-wire mode, because I'm running low on USB to RS-232 stuff.
I run my Unibone over Ethernet on Wi-Fi. I have it plugged into a Verizon Wi-Fi router that I got at the MIT swap meet, and I just log into it via Wi-Fi and run that way. However, it doesn't work. I blew up the bus drivers, I think, or the latches.
This
my Unibone.
This one I got a cable that just is RS-232 out, and so I've got 2 USB to RS-232 cables, which is not a big deal at all. But
Sure.
I'm running low on 9-pin to 25-pin converters.
Oh,
Well,
I can send some to you. I got a crap load.
Installation was successful. Okay, Discord, why don't you try to actually open up this time?
Yeah, but I wonder. I don't remember what I was talking about. I wonder.
So I'm
Have you
curious
tried-
if it's an RKO6 specific thing or if it's an RKO7, like if RKO7s will behave different, like maybe the RKO7 alignment pack is different.
Sure.
Yeah, I would assume it to be physically, but their means of marking it logically or whatever it is that that is being picked up on may not be. Hang on, I'm reading through the MULX manual to make sure that it isn't some configuration switch for diagnostic mode or some crap like that.
Yeah, I don't know how the
There's a few of these that are gotchas. Like there's option switch 1-3 will force a header check error to be used during when you're running Dex diagnostics.
Yeah, so pretty much as I understand it, all of the switch 1 switches should be off, which they are. They're all open. Where's my stack of paperwork? Here it is. I got printouts of all this stuff.
So, I can't even. That's crazy. So PDP-11 GUI. I tried to run PDP-11 GUI, and it wants me to. It could not verify and install this because it is not available in the Microsoft Store. I thought it was already installed. That's crazy.
No, that's to make sure that if they remove something from the store, you can't keep running it.
That's insane.
That's you don't own anything anymore, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna swap in this laptop to Linux soon enough.
That's the entire reason that I'm on Linux, and I hate it, but it's better than Microsoft.
I think you'll hate it less as things go on.
Isn't that called Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah.
I've been using Linux for a long time, and I still hate it. I mean, it's the lesser evil, though. It's like that's why I'm writing my own OS because I want to write a better Linux than Linux.
Well,
That's called BSD.
That is called BSD.
as you go along, you fix the initial startup issues,
Of course,
and then it's consistent.
Oh, here we go. I fixed it. I got PDP-11 GUI running again.
Okay,
I wanted to see if you could do the read-write disk images. I mean, you have to have a Windows laptop to do this, but you could do an RK611 with the PDP-11 GUI.
I mean, I have a full-fledged Unibone at my disposal here. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to use PDP-11 GUI when I've got a Unibone.
I agree, but what I'm more aiming at is because it can do the select controller and it interfaces with the controller via the PDP-11 GUI program that it runs. It may be able to give you a yes, this works versus no, this doesn't work test. Basically, if you could run it and you could ask it to go find an RK611 controller, if it finds it, then yeah, you know it's behaving appropriately. If not, then you know there's something wrong with the controller.
Well, all right. So hang on. Mark and I ran into this problem. I know too many people that have a name that starts with M. Mark and I fired up XXDP.
Okay.
But then we both promptly realized that neither of us know how to use XXDP.
Yeah.
XXDP is pretty easy though. It just depends on which version you have.
Right. XXDP is not too bad from what I remember, but it's annoying.
So if XXDP can also format the RKO6, like if that's one of the things that you can do within XXDP, then it makes sense to use XXDP to format. Jesus, thank you, Bob, for all of the gift subs. Good Lord, thank you, sir.
It can so it can because we know the the patch that's in the manual is for XXDP. So it can format the RK611. Whether or not that's compatible with the RS611 installer is unknown.
Okay,
Yeah.
whenever XXDP says format, it will mean low-level format. XXDP was the supported and expected way of doing things that clobbered the hardware. If you had an operating system level format or initialize command, at least in DEX terminology, it almost always meant to apply a file system to a disk that had already been low level formatted. Also, I found a switch on switch 1 that we may have to mess with. Do you know which PROM version you have for the SC12?
I've got the C, not the V. The V is for the VAX.
So I think
Okay.
XXCP low level format. I mean, we need to figure out how to apply the patch, which is not necessarily clear.
Oh, right, because the patch was for XXDP.
For XXDP, right? So how would we patch XXDP to do that? Is where I'm stumped.
I wonder
Okay,
if XXDP has a line editor in it that would allow you to edit COM files.
it has a line. Well, depending on which XXDP version you have, there is both a text editor and a binary patch program.
Ooh.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds like what we need is the binary patch program.
Yes, it does
But
to me.
more to the point, remember that patches of the form of examine and deposit commands don't need you to run a program at all. You have a PDP-11, break or halt the machine, break to the console, examine and deposit memory to your heart's content, and then just continue. Issue a content command.
Will that work with the Suzerain, I don't know if you're looking at the manual for the SC12.
Yeah, I am.
If you go to the bottom of the SC12 manual, the SC12C, it's actually for both. But if you go to the bottom of it, it's the appendix shows the mod you need to make. It's in. Hang on, I'll find it in just a second here.
I see a list of them.
Yeah, so the list of them. So then there's a mod that needs to be done to the format, and it specifically specifies like this is what you need to do to the format program. So if we load the XXDP format RK611, RK07, RK06 format program, does that load enough of it into memory that we can do something with it? Like we can modify these memory I don't know. Is where I'm at. I'm not sure.
Okay, the important thing to remember is that XXDP was written with the expectation that it would run on a potentially broken machine.
Yes.
Therefore, it does not use address relocation. It does not use demand loading. It doesn't use anything that would not work on an absolute minimum configuration. It doesn't use floating point instructions.
Okay.
It doesn't even use multiply and divide.
Wow.
Yeah, it avoids things that may give bad results on a non-functional machine. I think it even there's a document somewhere in BitSavers that has the specific things you cannot do if you are writing programs that will run under XXDP or if you are writing XXDP itself. And the list is quite long, and it's a lot of things you wouldn't expect.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's one that instead of subtracting, you should always add the complement or something like that. Or maybe it was the other way around because there's a specific gate failure that can happen on some machines that will cause that to give bad results.
That's crazy.
But anyway, yeah, once it's loaded, XXDP programs load unrelocated unless they specifically specify relocation. and then those have to be loaded through a different program, and that's almost never done. That was done
Okay.
just for things like the patch loader or the editor that were not diagnostics themselves.
So
But
what we
any
should
of the diagnostics should always load completely. And if you see a different, like, okay, it says, if you look at their modifications, it gives a location, a from, and a to. So you would examine that location, check for the from value. If you don't see the from value, I would be confident in saying you have a different version of the specific diagnostic program, or you loaded the wrong program.
So, I think what we should do is load XXDP and then try to apply these patches with the patch. We should try to figure out how to apply these patches. I think that's probably the first thing we should try. If
Or
that
at least
doesn't work,
just try to run one of the RK06 diagnostics, because I think all the RK06 diagnostics are in the ZR range or something like that.
yes, they are. They're ZR6L, which is RK611, I believe, or RK06.
Yeah. Also, Telenak, thank you for the gifted sub, man. All right, things are about to get noisy. If the noise suppression is garbage, let me know. But I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot I can do about it because the PDP-11 44 is loud.
It is.
Okay, before you do that, there's one other thing I want you to do just to see if it produces a different result.
Sure.
For the 21C on switch 1, hang on, let me make sure I've got this right.
Switch 1 is a halt run, if I remember.
Yeah, okay, switch 1 should have 4 switches in it. Switch 1, 1,
Yep.
1, 2,
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. Switch 1, 2 is not marked as having an option, but it says disables check of last header word to read packs written by SC21/Cs. And then paragraph marker 1. And this is in the table A3 specific to the, or table A4.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
C. So I'm wondering if they meant SC21V there. It says see paragraph 3.3.4.1, which I'll have to cross-reference later. But I'm wondering if there's supposed to be a specific flag word written to the last sector of the physical drive.
No, so I think you've got numbers tripping you up here. The SC21 is a different controller card than the SC12 that we're on.
Right. Okay. Yep, I read it backwards.
That one tripped me up a lot as well. It took me a long time to realize that they were two separate cards.
Right. That does make me think that it's looking for some magic value in that last sector. And I wonder if you were supposed to do something to write it.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about that in the... Well, I mean, if you look at the factory switch settings, like it just right above that, it shows all 4 of those as off. And then, so my my settings now are almost identical to that, except for my switch 2 settings are, set up different, so that way I have the 3 RK06s.
I mean, it does show, so there's modifications to deck diagnostics in Appendix D of that manual, and I really do think that whatever is going on in this thing is directly related to that, because this is like critical to make this work, from what I understand.
Yeah, and it says it disables the compare of the second header check character, which is apparently, I don't know if that means, I think that means the physical, like what would be written by an SMD low-level format.
Wait, look at the SC12 extended option on SC12 config to enable extended format. Dave, I don't know what that means. You're going to have to elaborate.
Look at the SC12 extended option on SC12 extend. Okay, hang on, I'm looking.
Yeah, I think what's going on is it's unhappy with the the SMD low level format.
Either
think
either
that's
that or
a
it's just
good
it's not even
theory.
getting far enough to. It may not even be getting far enough to format the track that would be considered, the identifier track for the Who's Your What's It.
Who's
Section.
what's it?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also when you
I'm
guys
sure
You know what I'm
what's
saying.
it.
okay earlier when you guys were formatting things, did you do the sequence of console commands shown in 3.6.3.1?
Yeah,
3.6.
yeah, I've got it. I've actually got a printout of it right here.
Hang on, let me take a look here. 3.
It says hardware format examples.
Yeah, it walks through it.
3.6. Yes. Okay.
So extended commands. These commands are special. Yeah, yeah. So and what it talks about with the how to format it, you deposit a value to enable extended commands. Yeah, if the commands are issued without performing the enable operation, the 27 command will result in the execution of the standard track format operation, while the 33, 35, or 37 commands will cause the ILF illegal function bit to be set in RKER.
Okay, was that the error register?
Oh, what is 33, 35, or 37? 33 is write protect, 35 is read unit headers. Write unit headers. The write unit headers command is used to write headers in conjunction with the track replacement function. It is similar to the normal write header command, except that the physical unit addresses. I don't think that has anything to do with our format.
3.
Also, which disk drive did you say this was? The physical drive?
It's a
This is a
Fujitsu
sorry.
2312, but it's set up as a 2311. It doesn't matter though, the documentation is the same for both.
That's really weird that it did not work as a 2312.
It might have. I mean, there was so much stuff broken, and I was just throwing everything at the wall, and 2311 stuck.
All right,
But-
I mean,
But I had
You
changed
want to-
2311 and it didn't fix it, and I changed something else and it did fix it, and I didn't want to mess with a good thing. So I could
Sure.
probably reformat it as a 2312, but I'm not sure if our cisgen version of RSX would recognize an RKO7, which is why I haven't done that yet.
I got you. Okay, I understand.
Because if I can format it, because our cisgen is set up to recognize DM drives. And so the RKO6 and RKO7 should both be DMs, but I don't know if the RKO6 driver and the RKO7 driver are explicitly different within RSX. Now, I could go through and change my settings back to 11, which would set it up as 2 RKO7s and 1 RKO6, run the format again. That would require it being a 2312. So I would need to change that to a 2312, then fire it up, run the format as twice as an RKO7 and then once as an RKO6, and
Sure.
then boot into RSX and see if it sees it. But if it doesn't, like if it just doesn't see it at all, I mean, I suppose that we could, if it doesn't see the 2 RKO7s, we could continue forth with just working with that third RKO6 and see if we can overcome the error that we're seeing. I'm curious though if the RKO7 will have that same this is an alignment disk problem.
Yeah.
But that might require a full proper cisgen again of the operating system, which is going to take till 7 in the morning. Cisgens are not
Oh,
rapid.
man. Could you do? I mean, so that's true. Cisgens are not rapid, and writing with PDP-11 GUI is not rapid either. So, okay, let me think about this a little bit further.
So
If I look at the allowed configurations list for 2311 and 2312, the only two they share in common are configuration 11 and configuration 32.
Okay, so
Configuration 11.
this needs some explanation. It took me 2 days to figure out how Emulex is writing their manual here. So you're looking at the list of drive supported, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, after the drive supported, it has the configuration.
yeah.
supported.
So on the drive supported thing here, you've got Fujitsu 2311, Fujitsu 2312. The important part here is the part that says key. So 589-04 for the 2311, 589-07 for the 2312. Now, if you go to the table, and let's just go to number 11, for example, because 11 is shared between the two, right? So if you look at setting 11, the Emulex SC12 can support up to 2 physical drives connected to it. So with 11 and the switches set to what they are, it supports a 589-07 in physical unit 0 and a 589-04 in physical unit 1. So that would be a 2312 as unit 0 and a 2311 as unit 1. And then that formats it such that you get 2 RK07s and 1 RK06 on the 2312, and then 3 RK06s on the 2311, which would be physical unit 1. So currently I have it set up as 11B, which would be 2 2311s if you had 2 physical 2311 drives. And then they're each set up as 3 RK06s each. So the most important number that we're looking for here is 589-04 or 589-07. If I change it back over to 2312 mode, then we look at 58907. That just means that it has 589 cylinders and 7 tracks or 7 heads, as opposed to 4 tracks or 4 heads for the 2311. That's the only, near as I can tell, the only difference between the 2311 and the 2312 is the number of heads on the platters.
Yeah. No, what I was getting at is if you're using one of those 2 configurations that are in common, I would expect that if you switch the drive to 2312, the format and all other things should stay valid, and then we can check directly if 2311 or 2312 mode affects the configuration without any additional variables. But you said you are in 11B.
Yeah. And I don't think you can format a 20... Oh, yeah, you could, I guess. So if it was in 2312 and we set it to mode 32, that would give us 5 RK06s. But I would still need to reformat those because I think it's probably going to lay them out differently on the disk.
Yeah. No, I was just fishing for a way we could just flip the switch to 2312 and see what broke with any degree of accuracy.
I mean, we could reconfigure it to 32, flip the switch to 2312, format all 5 of the RK06s, and then our sysgen should be able to see those, at least 3 of the 5.
Yeah, I'm just trying not to invalidate the sysgen if I can. I was looking for things that could be tested without investing a bunch of time and effort. Well, more time.
I'm on day 4 straight of dicking with this thing. Like investing time and effort went out the window forever ago.
Yeah, no. What I mean is that you probably don't have much of a desire to be messing with it very much longer.
Well, no, the video's wrapped up, so like whatever we do tonight's not going to make it in the video. That's a given.
I thought this was going to be like an easy, quick win.
Oh heck no, man!
No.
This is probably a stupid question, but is there any way we can build the drive virtually and then copy it on sector by sector?
Not easily, no.
Nah,
Many things can screw you up.
I think the issue here is that we've got the Emulex card in the middle, right? So we took our sysgen file, and we can run it in SimH, and it finds and initializes the RK06s just fine. But SimH gives you a genuine RK06. So our problem is not RSX. Our problem is RSX talking to the Fujitsu via the Emulex. So there's some setting in the middle here that's causing RSX to freak out that wouldn't freak out if I had a genuine RK06.
If
Yeah,
it,
I think what we may have to do is do the thing for XXDP and see if it produces any difference.
I was thinking that if it does get to the point where you switch to the RK07 and you need to re-sysgen, can you sysgen for the RK07 on SimH and then copy it back to the Unibone?
Yeah, we could do that. I can also use the auto configure. This is what Mark and I did. We did a prep gen, use the auto configure. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying, because the sysgen takes like an hour and a half. Just like of sitting and waiting for the sysgen to finish. And it's faster on SimH. So yeah, you could do it on SimH, and then I could copy it over. I could copy it over to the file. Copy it over. I can drop the disk image into Discord if I can find it. Just a second. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to get it back onto the Unibone currently. But at least you guys can see the disk image and mess with it if you want in SimH.
Yeah, the way you would have to
SimH setup.
The way you would have to do that is to take the SD card out and shove it in some other Linux machine and mount its file system.
Yeah.
I have a specific adapter for that, but also since my Unibones are all wired to Ethernet, I just SFTP things to them.
Yeah, that's what I did initially. Is I popped the SD card out and just shoved it on there. But my SD card reader is in the other room. Inside.
Your laptop doesn't have one built in?
Which is across the...
Yeah, which is, not far. I don't think either of these have a built-in SD card reader.
No, it's not far. But
Oh, this one has a fat one. If I had a micro to regular SD thing, which is also inside, by the way.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, if I'm going to make the journey inside.
I was going to offer you another laptop if you want a Dell Latitude i7 4000 series.
What I really want is a Linux that doesn't suck. Oh, I don't think I can share this on Discord. The disk file is 159.4 megabytes.
Hit it with gzip.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, it's already in a gzip. That's 9. How is that even possible? Good lord!
Yeah.
It took a 150 megabyte file and made it 9 megs. Like that should
Lots
not.
of empty space.
That should not even be
That's easy to
doable.
explain. That's easy to explain. Hard drives are mostly empty.
Speaking of that, I'm preparing my new NAS right now, and it's got 5 12 terabyte hard drives in it, and I'm doing a zero pass on all of them. It's been running for a day, and it's going to take another day and a half to zero all the drives.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When I upgraded my NAS, which has, I did 10 3 terabyte drives to 10 4 terabyte drives. It took me a week to resilver them all.
Yeah, I'm in the... I need to actually do... I got a NAS... I have actually set it up, but it's 12 terabytes of NAS. And...
Meltdown's saying that we shouldn't have to do prep gen again. All right, I tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. Just because I'm curious, I'm gonna pop it into 2312. We're gonna reformat it with 2 RK07s and 1 RK06, and then we're gonna pop into our version of RSX on the Unibone and see if it picks them up. And if it doesn't pick up the RK07s, whatever, we'll just test it with the RK06. The third RK06 that we have. And I can always just pop it back down to 2311 and reformat. The format utility on the Emulex only takes about 2 minutes. Okay, so I need to figure out which one to flip here to get it into. So the 2312 is a weird drive because you have two other dip switches that allow you to set the sector counts, but I'm pretty sure that only applies if you're hard sectored. The manual didn't clearly say.
On SMD drives, you have to configure the controller for how many sectors the physical drive has. There's no auto negotiation or anything like that. It's like, think of it like, okay, you remember how on really old PCs you had to program in heads, cylinders, sectors, tracks, and so on?
Yeah.
On a lot of SMD controllers, there is an undocumented controller-specific command that the operating system or firmware or whatever has to send that gives it the configuration and head tracks, cylinders, sectors, etc. of whatever is attached to it. And no I/O can be done until that command has been sent.
But that has to be done even if you're soft sectored?
That has to be done soft sectored, hard sectored, whatever, because you have to tell the controller about the drive.
Okay. I mean,
Like
currently it's set to what it was set when I got it, so I'm assuming that that's correct. And I did the math, and I came out off by 1, so I just assumed that my math is incorrect.
Yeah, in your case, because your drive is got a switch that says hard sector or soft sector, it's probably not changing the sector mode used with the actual physical metal. What it's doing is changing what behavior is simulated on the SMD interface. Because some really early SMD controllers could not talk to a soft sector drive.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to pop it into 2312. Leave it. We're going to put it on soft sector. We're going to put it into 2312. And we're going to try this again. All right. 2312 is key 4. And key 6 is soft sectoring. All right. All right, it's about to get noisy.
Okay.
The way it was intended to be.
Yep. All right, that's the hard drive coming up. Here comes the PDP-11.
Yeah, once the drive reached its operating speed, then the echo cancel or the background noise canceller caught it and got rid of it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna. Well, as soon as the Unibone boots up, man, the Unibone takes 9 million years to boot up.
Have you updated the
Yeah.
one? Mine's pretty quick.
You can't update those. Newer versions of Linux don't support the software interface anymore.
No, I mean, there's like a updated Unibone, whatever the latest software that I have in mind is, boots fast. The latest image I have in mind boots pretty quickly.
It still takes about 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
the
So we're gonna
my
open
issue
up.
with the JS is it expects drives to be ready within 20 seconds, and the Unibone just has no hope.
All right, let's see here. Let me get Twitch chat popped out over here so I can see it still.
Yeah, while you get set up, I'm gonna run and get something. I'll be right back.
Yep. Probably take that long for the Unibone to boot up anyways. How is the noise? Can you guys hear it?
It's worse than the Lytton.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like twice as loud as the Lytton. Easily.
And I assume that those are just fixed speed fans.
Yeah. Okay, so the Unibone has booted up. I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my window capture on. You guys should see that now. So you guys should be able to see the PDP-11 now. Ooh, CP didn't start. Oh yeah, because I have to load up an image file into the Unibone. I have to get the Unibone essentially fired up before it'll do that. So yeah, let's do that right quick.
It's interesting. You have a linear version of the 3.40C is different than mine because mine does not give my console prom does not care.
Oh really? No, this one. So
Yeah.
the Unibone breaks the NPG grant until you load up a file until you load up an image file on like an emulated disk, and then it reconnects the NPG grant, and then that allows the processor to start.
But that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so now I got to type a big old fat incantation here, but it's going to be a little bit easier since I've got a real deal keyboard. D1, 2, 3, 4, 450. No, I don't want to do a 0. Hang on a sec. D1, 450. I want to do a 40 to do a subsystem clear. Then we do a 0 to set it as drive 0. Then I do 1, 2, 4, 440 with a 2003. If anybody's following along in the manual, that would be great. You can double check my work.
Yeah,
And then I can do 17777 440. I can re-examine it. I typed too many sevens. No, I typed the right number sevens. That's not what I should have gotten back. I should not have gotten back 102202. I should have just gotten back 2202 without the 1.
Hang on.
Isn't there a space after? Oh, never mind. No.
That's interesting. Let's try this again. 0, 40. Let's do a subsystem clear. Let's try again. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 450 on unit 0. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4 on 440 of a 2003. And then if I examine that back, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 440, I get a 102202. I shouldn't be getting that 15th bit set, which I'm sure is written in the manual as to what that means.
I'm looking through the manual right now.
Is the Unibone trying to emulate an RKO 6 or 7 on its own?
No, it's a different MSCP drive. I'm looking it up right quick.
I'm looking up too.
That is going to be
Operating.
440. There's 462. That's 454. There's 452. There's so many registers on this thing.
Oh wait, there's a section of the manual titled operating system. I feel
All right,
that's
so
worth one.
if bit 15 is set, it indicates that a subsystem error has occurred. However, when the bit is set via program control, a controller initialization operation is enabled, which clears the controller and results in the clearing of bit 15 itself. Thus, if the bit is internally set by an error that is followed by an external set to initialize the controller, bit 15 will be cleared. However, since only control errors will be initialized by C clear, any error originating in a drive will remain set in the drive. All right, whatever. Let's just soldier on and see if it gives us a different error here.
You may also try seeing if the I command clears it. I will generate a unibus init signal.
The Unibone, I will.
6, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Not
5.
in the function.
All right, let's just try a format here and see what it does.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Oh! Oh, I'm so dumb. I forgot to update the Emulex card to go to a 2050 something.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. All right, so you got to turn off. Oh, shit, which is going to... I forgot to shut down the Unibone. That's going to upset the Unibone.
It'll get over it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine.
It'll just
All
take longer to boot.
Yeah, yeah. Take another 17 years to boot. All right, let's turn the window capture back off so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here.
I have to admit, I thought about mentioning, did you update the settings on the Emulex? Because I only saw you touch the drive, but I wasn't sure if I missed something.
Nope, you didn't miss anything. I was just getting ahead of myself. All right, I need my tool. Yeah, I'm like, this worked before, I swear. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to 11. So it's going to be closed, open, open, closed, and then everything else is going to be open. So 9 and 10 turn off. And that's going to set us up for 2 RK07s and 1 RK06. Okay. Yeah, it was throwing that error because I was trying to tell it to format an RK07, but the disk controller was set up only for RK06s. Okay. All right, now we get to wait 9,000 years for the Unibone to boot back up. That's going to be the slowest process of this whole thing. It is good news to see that the Unibone serial port is truly 3-wire. It's just ground, receive, and transmit at 9600 8N1. No flow control. Are y'all still there, or are you just being quiet?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. If it goes quiet for a little bit, I'm afraid that Linux has just shut everything down.
No.
No, apparently people are confusing the way the stream title is written to mean that you are trying to get Linux to run on the PDP-11 itself.
Oh, all right, I'll update that. We got Linux to play nice. Ooh, I'm still apparently typing. I turned you back on.
I mean, you might be able to port Elks to a PDP-11. That's kind of Linux.
But that's what I was thinking about. I was also thinking of the fact that Penguin of Evil is on the Discord.
I mean, I feel like you could port a very light version of Linux with extreme effort, but it doesn't make sense. It already runs Unix. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't need it.
Because the PDP-11 only has a 64K address space, or I guess 128K if you want to count split I and D.
I mean, four megs with the MMU.
Yeah,
Is
but
the
it's still only a 16-bit virtual address space though, not just physical address space.
All right, let's try this again.
Yeah, you have to have something that can deal with like overlays and like memory segmentation, and Linux isn't really set up for that. Elk is, but yeah, normal Linux isn't.
More to the point, you also need something that can do full virtual addressing. The PDP-11 can only do relocation.
There we go. That's good. Okay, we're back on track.
UC Linux is dependent on having a larger flat address space and not a segmented address. Yeah, not like a segmented address space with only like 16 or with only a 16-bit address space. It's just not made to run on that kind of machine.
So,
All right,
so
that's formatting. We're formatting now.
Cool. So what you're saying is that we should port Linux to the PDP-11?
Yeah.
Linux is an educational version of V7 Unix, so it would be redundant.
Yeah. Yeah, we can just run Unix. The reason that we're going through all of this headache and pain for RSX is because the FPS 100 software is written in RSX and for RSX. So it has to be RSX. Like there's a million different other, like I could have put Ristus on here, or RT11 and called it a day, or if I just wanted a PDP-11 with a hard drive, like there was a ton of different options. Unix probably would have been great too. But it has to be RSX 11. Turn that off. So you guys can't see this, but on the top of the Emulex card, the fault light blinks whenever data is being transferred. So the format's happening, which means the fault light is blinking. So that's how I know that the format is still ongoing. The first time I tried this, it got about halfway through a format and errored. The actual physical hard drive errored out with a write command sent when off track or something like that. But I think that was because I had bad grounding between the two, and that's been fixed. So it might actually fully format as in RK07 now.
Oh, interesting.
It's certainly going longer than it did for the RK06, which I would expect. It's practically double the size.
Yeah.
Are you still in 2311 emulation, or did you switch it to 2312?
I switched it to 2312.
Okay. I'm just updating my
I
notes.
hope it worked.
What I'm touching, but they're close to it. I did lose a bunch of time where when I first put the Emulex in, I put it into the slot that's next to the memory slots. So not the last slot, just the second to last slot. And everything worked fine. And I was able to format stuff, and once I figured out all the problems that I was up against. And then I moved it to the last slot and put the Unibone in the slot that the Emulex was in. And all of a sudden nothing worked. And it turned out that the NPG bus grant is wired on only one slot in the entire backplane, and it's that last slot. Yeah. Thanks.
I unwired all of mine, and I just used G20 72
Yeah.
72s now.
I thought they were all unwired, but it turns out that one was wired.
Yeah.
And it was not the one. It was apparently I hadn't checked that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 0. Now we're on to disk 1. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 440 should be a 2003. If I examine that, I should get 2202, which is correct. So now we do a D1 7777 462 with a value of 1 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to indicate that we're on pack ID number 1. And then D17777476. And this has to be all 1s. And then finally D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0 of 2027. And we're off to the races again. We are now formatting the second RK07 disc.
And how many do you get on a single 2312? 4?
2. I get 2 RK07s and 1 RK06. So it's 84.
So it's 84.
Yeah, it's 84 megabytes. An RK07 is a 28 megabyte drive, and the RK06 is a 14 megabyte drive. So whatever 28 plus 28 plus 14 comes out to 20, 40, 50, 66, 70 something megs. Yeah. So we don't actually use the entirety of the 2312 just because the geometry wouldn't let you get half of an RK drive.
But it still gives you twice as much space being an RK07 instead of an RK06. So, on a single list.
Yeah, so before we had 3 RK06s, which would have been 3 times 14, which is 42 megs or something like that. So we're not quite double, but we're close. The more important part is that we have twice as much on one emulated disk. So drive 0, our system drive, now has twice as much space in it, so we can put a more full-fledged RSX11M in there if we want to. Like we could put M+, and M+ would be ideal because it's a better RSX11, but I don't know if M+ will work with the FPS stuff. Like the FPS stuff was written for M, and apparently there's enough differences between M and M+ that software that was written for M sometimes doesn't work on software on M+.
The FPS software is written for Fortran, so, and I don't believe it's pre-compiled. So you may be able to get away with it plus, but I would try. I think 11M is probably a better bet. We know it runs there.
Yeah, I mean, and we have an 11M install, and I would be booting off of 11M already if we hadn't run into this, is a cartridge, like is a thing. Looks like we finished our thing. Let me examine it right quick. E1777440. We should get back 2226. That is correct. So format complete. Now we're on to the third and final disk. So we're going to D1 1 2 3 4 4 5 0 space 40. D1 1 2 3 4 4 5 0 space 2. D1 1 2 3 4 4 4 0 space 3. And if I examine that back, I should get 202, which I do. All right, so now we're on D1 2 3 4 4 6 2. And we'll put in 1 1 0 3 4 2. D1 1 2 3 4 4 7 6 space 1 4 5. That's all ones, and then a D 1 1 2 3 4 4 4 0 space 2 7. That's going to start our format of the third and final RK06. This should format in half the time. And then I'll be curious to see what our RSX11 install thinks of those disks. It'd be nice if it just went, oh yeah, those are RKO7s, but I doubt that it's going to do that.
It might. Because I mean, it only calls out for the format modification you have to do for XXDP. It only calls out RKO6. So maybe, possibly, it'll just magically work now.
Well, no. My concern is that the RSX11 cisgen won't recognize RKO7s because we ginned it for RKO6s.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So my concern is that we won't even get as far as the RK as that.
Okay. We do have one other option. I may have to dig to.
Oh, cool.
to
That
find
finished.
it now. If you have the Unibone emulate an MSCP drive and boot Ristus on it, Ristus's monitor preloader has a command that will map out every device, disk, terminal controller, etc. in the machine and show you. So if it completely does not work and we have no idea what the heck is going on, we have the option to attempt that, because that would happen only on the Unibone.
Okay. Hang on. Let me. I'm going to share my terminal again. You guys should be able to see that. Okay, so if I do a start 10,000 here, this should get us into RSX11M, the one that we cisgened that's now booting from the Unibone. This is an 80-bit terminal. All right, here's the big thing. Dev DM : Oh, it does just see them as RKO7s.
Yeah.
All right. Dang,
Yeah.
go that. All right, hang on. I've got notes here. Not those notes. Those are the wrong notes. I've got different notes. Where are they? Kate, where did you put my notes? Kate, you are garbage, Kate. There we go. Okay. All right, let's do some work here. Let's do install $pip. Start with that. Then we'll do an install $bad. Then we'll do an install $ini. Okay. So I guess we'll just start with a format, huh? Let's try that. Let's do dev dm : double check, yeah. So then we'll just do, oh, I gotta install format. So install $fmt. And then we'll do a format dm0 : / override. Now when we do a format with the override before, it would appear as if though it were formatting, and then we would get a bunch of errors later. So if it appears like it's formatting right now, don't get your hopes up. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So we did an override. It's going to sit here and say start formatting for a little bit. And then, and I can see it formatting. I can see the light blinking on the Emulex card. And then it's going to say start verification. And then it's going to vomit 9 million errors. And then it's going to hit the error limit exceeded and stop. At least that's what it did on the RKO6. We'll see what it does on the RKO7. It'll probably take twice as long to format. Oh yeah, thanks, Meltdown. Mark and I have been, Mark's been walking me through about RSX. I'm starting to finally get a little bit of a handle on it, but I was not reciting those from memory. I have a big sheet up on the second laptop that has all my cheats on it. The RK07 is big.
Well, it hasn't puked yet. That's good.
Well, no, it won't puke until it starts verification. So even on the RK06 previously, it would do this like it was doing the format, and then it would say start verification, and it would error on every single block.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it would hit an error limit exceeded or something like that, and eventually shut up. But the RK07 is so big that it's taking twice as long to push our way through this.
It's literally twice as big.
Huh?
The RK07 is literally twice as big.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to take twice as long to do the initial format here. Oh my gosh, the suspense is killing me.
I know.
The important part is that it didn't complain about it being an alignment pack. Didn't it do that immediately?
Now, if you do an override on format, it doesn't complain about the alignment pack. This is information that I should have given you guys earlier. The only time that we could get it to do something where it wouldn't complain about an alignment pack is if we did format DM0 override. And it would do exactly this until it started the verification, and then it would shit itself.
What we should have done is format DM0 normally and see if it still complained about it being an alignment pack.
Yeah, that would have been the smart thing to do.
I didn't catch on because I was distracted. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's still DM1.
Yeah. Well, we're in the middle of it now, so all we got to do is wait.
Yeah, I was thinking of figuring out faster. But yeah, we'll know whether or not this is going to work when this eventually dies or doesn't.
Good lord, it's taken so long. I swear the RK06 did not take...
Now on the controller, that error light is blinking and not on solid, right?
Yeah, no, it's flickering.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, it's doing something.
Yeah.
So it means that it's not being refused as a drive error, which is what I was curious about.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I should do some push-ups or something to take my mind off of it. This is also like the easiest thing in the world for my computer to stream. Oh, there it goes. Yep.
Error?
That's exactly what it did on the RK06s.
Okay, so I think we have to go to XXDP and do the low level format.
Well, hang on. Let's see if...
Wait a minute.
Let me play around with this for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, where it's erroring is way at the beginning of the disk, not the end.
It's not just the beginning. It's every block.
Right.
From 0 on up. Yeah.
Okay, now while it's doing this, is the error light on the controller on, or is it still flickering?
It's blinking. Presumably because it's trying to write something and it's not happening or something. I don't know. Yeah,
Right.
there you go. Error limit exceeded.
In the Emulex manual, there's mention of a logical write protect. Is that an issue?
No, that shouldn't be on. I should have the write protect off for both the Emulex and the big drive.
Yeah, and it should tell you write protect, not error reading or error
Yeah.
writing.
So you can see it starts at cylinder 0, track 0, sector 10, block 10, error writing data, then 11, then 12, then 13, then 17, 19, 20, and then it goes...
Than 10?
Huh?
You ever see sector less than 10? Or wait, go to where you get cylinder or track 1. And let me see if the sector and block numbers repeat. Because there was never any below. It looks like it did 0 through 9 okay. And started flagging errors at 10.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
so
we go
we
to
roll
track
over.
1, and it's sector 10, block 32. So it starts at sector 10 on track 1.
Right, so the first, it looks like the first few, I wonder
Yeah,
if we have a mapping error here. So it's
Yeah.
not literally everything. The first 9 sectors of, well, if it's a 0-based number, the first 10 sectors of every, either 9 or 10 sectors of every track and cylinder seem to work.
Yeah, and then it goes ape from there on out.
Yeah, the other thing is we see a jump in those sequential block numbers.
Actually, it's sector 10 to sector 21 every single time.
Right. That what I'm saying is I don't know whether the first sector is 0 or sector 1. If it's 0, then you have 10 working sectors everywhere. If it starts with 1, then you have only 9.
It would seem weird to have cylinder 0 but not sector 0.
Yeah, it's IBM did it that way.
So let's go dev d. No.
So that's even weirder than what I expected. It's not refusing everything.
So if I do a format dm0 : just as a straight format here. Yeah, there we go. Disk is an alignment cartridge. So that's the same thing that's going on there. So it still thinks it's an alignment cartridge, and that sector problem that we're seeing is very strange.
Yeah.
How about if you do format EM1 without select override?
Yeah, they're all three the same. So we tried this before. They all come back as alignment disks. So if I do format dm2,
how does it know it's an alignment cartridge? Is there like a specific sector that it's looking for that tells it that it's an alignment cartridge, and maybe it's getting thrown off on that?
That's the $1 million question. We think it's the last track. We think the last track has information on it that denotes something as an alignment cartridge. Yeah, Dave, we're 35 sectors per track, and we're erroring, according to that format, we're erroring on 10 to 21.
Yeah, okay. If I look up that same verbiage, kind of, the bad block program can exit with the error is an alignment cartridge. And it says the factory written label on the last track of a last track device cartridge indicates an alignment cartridge or for use only by field service.
Yeah, so I can run the bad. I got that backwards, and I can't do backspace.
PRU has a similar message. It also says that it's the last track that is magical.
Oh, it won't let me do the bad this time. I swear we've done that before. Maybe we do an override on that. Yeah.
Dumb question. I take it this is definitely not an alignment cartridge?
Oh, no,
Yeah, no.
absolutely not. It's an Emulex controller card hooked up to an SMD drive, notably a Fujitsu 2312.
Okay. And this presumably contains like data we don't care about or something, or it's just different format entirely?
That's interesting. That's finding way more bad blocks than it should be. Why are all of the blocks bad? So I've run bad before when it was set to RK06s, and we got like 20 bad blocks for the entire 27,000. But this is every block is bad.
It's not every block. It's doing
No,
this
it's
gas
skipping
10.
through. You're right.
But is this a Well, is this a logical translation issue where it's translating from the RKO7 to the physical drive, but the Emulex has something not set correctly?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, that could be it, but the fact that you have to monkey with the XXDP formatter in order to format packs, and XXDP being the expected way that somebody would format a pack, makes me think that what's going on here is that DEX format programs for whatever operating system will not work with this, and they didn't want to give you a patch to apply to, say, the RSX one, because that's going to be running relocated and you have to talk the user through all that. That's going to be a pain in the neck. So what they'll do is they'll just tell you, oh, it's only supported to format these under XXDP using our patch. And the patch may change the drive geometry or something.
There's your pattern right there. So it started recording bad blocks at 10, went until 21, and then it skipped.
Yeah. So there's something geometry-wise going on here, and I'm willing to bet that's what the patch to the XXDP formatter changes. It makes sense. They lazied somewhere.
No, wait a minute. So it starts at sector 10. So 10 is the first bad sector.
No, so here's the tricky part. When we were doing it, when we were getting this, it was telling us sectors. But the trick is not to look at the sectors; it's to look at the blocks, and the blocks aren't sectors. So if we go all the way back to the beginning, the block count I think is going to be exactly identical. So we do block 10 through 21, and then it's doing.
I'm assuming that a block is the same size as a sector.
Yeah, and then 32.
Yeah, here you're trying to read back.
Yeah, then it bumps up to 32.
As you skip 10 after 21.
Yeah.
42, so this almost seems like it's doing a translation for like a 9-sector format or something. And so everything, if it tries to address a sector that's greater than 9, it's going to fail. So there's like a translation that's not happening that should be happening.
So I think
you know what else? Hold on. You know what else this smells like? Interleave.
It does.
Oh, you know what? That is an option. That's an option on the Emulex. You can do 3 to 1 interleave or 2 to 1 interleave.
Yeah, if you look
so
on
the interleave
page 2.6 of the document, it has this format, and it talks about things not being RKO6, RKO7 standard. Take a look at that. That's section 241 on page 2-6.
Okay, where do you have it set to now?
I really think we need to go to XXDP, do the patch, and run the format.
No, I'm not doing a patch, man.
I'm not 100% convinced that interleave will solve your problem. I mean, absolutely try it, but an interleave just changes how the sectors are arranged on the track. They're still going to have their address markers on there, and so the drive controller will be able to find the sectors regardless. It may just be slower if you're accessing sectors in sequential order and the interleave is not set correctly. So it shouldn't affect the actual access, but it does affect the speed.
Yeah, so the interleave shouldn't change anything, but we've currently got it set to 3 to 1. If we change it to 2 to 1, maybe we'll see a different pattern coming out of this.
And expecting. What I'm thinking of is that the drive may be trying to fake a deck specific interleave value, and when it translates to the physical device layer may be screwing up.
I mean, if interleave truly didn't affect anything at all, why would they give me the option to change between 3 to 1 and 2 to 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if we're changing the interleave presented to the PDP-11, or if we're changing the interleave presented to the physical disk drive.
Yeah.
The interleave is a performance parameter, right? The idea is that if you're doing a sequential sector accesses, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, there's a certain amount of processing time that it takes the controller to process a single sector. And that time does not necessarily correspond with the time that the head takes to get to the next physical sector on that same track. So the idea is that if you instead interleave, so instead of just putting the sectors on the track 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on in sequential order, what happens is that if you're slow, you will miss sector 2 and you'll have to go all the way around again to get to sector 2. But if you interleave, it spaces sector 2 further away so that by the time you're ready to read that next sector, your head is already correctly positioned to read it. So it should only affect performance and not actual accesses.
Okay, I would ordinarily agree with that. The problem is that SMD has a bunch of conditions where if you start a command and for whatever reason it does not complete within a time window, either the controller or the drive or both declare the command as having failed. So if you wind up with a bad enough interleave combination, you can make things that wouldn't ordinarily time out.
Okay.
Now, the only reason now Emulx may have done something to avoid this, but when I was doing the emulation of the whatever the heck interface controller that the Lambda uses, there were warnings about this in the interface manual.
I mean, it can't hurt us to try.
Yeah, I mean, if you switch it once and you see the same pattern, then you know that trying the other option isn't gonna.
Well, it's currently I've only got 2 options. It's currently in 3-to-1, so we'll put it in 2-to-1 and see what happens.
Oh, there's no option for 1-to-1?
Nope. You've got 3-to-1 and 2-to-1. That's all you get.
I pasted the sections in the Friday Night Swim.
All right, 3-to-1. That's going to be switch 3 key 1. We want to close it. So switch 3 key 1 closed. Key 2 is also
closed.
closed.
Drive, or is this on the? Okay,
This is on the.
no, this is on the controller.
Yeah, this is on the Emulx itself. Yeah, so closed, and we're still set to 7740, 77440. And we're going to have to reformat everything, but I'm okay with that. All right. Get my format notes back out here. If it's interleave, I'm going to be extremely happy and extremely frustrated all at the same time. And now we get to wait 10 years for the Unibone to come back up. Yeah, it's really weird to me that, like, it's 10 sectors out of the 35. Consistently, the same 10 sectors every time.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards some kind of low-level formatting issue or disagreement between the physical drive and the Emulx.
Yeah.
Which is why I suggest the patch. I know you don't want to do this. I understand that you're not going to do it. Why I suggest doing the XSDP, doing the patch, because maybe that does something low level that we're not thinking about. But I think there's.
I mean, it's possible, but, like, here's what's going to happen if we try to do the patch. We're going to spend 3 hours trying to figure out how to do the goddamn patch.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Well, no. I think I know how to do the patch because I've done similar things when debugging things under XXDP.
I mean, we could try it if we hit a brick wall. We're not far from hitting a brick wall. We're pretty close there.
Yeah.
That's an option.
I mean, it specifies. My only pushback against you saying that doing. Again, I don't want to push too hard, but like it says it in the manual, it specifies in the manual. So I'm like,
But it specifies it for an RKO6 only, not for an RKO7, and we're seeing the same problem on RKO7 now.
Exactly. Which is really strange, because I don't know if that's the same format program between the two, or if it's like 7 format program with XXDP that we need to run. I have no idea.
Do we know the contents of the configuration prom in the controller that make utility geometry?
I want to look.
More to the point, since it says RKO6 formatter only in the thing there at the end, I'm wondering if we run XXDP's RKO7 formatter directly, will it win?
Because this is weird, because Bob pasted the link in here for the RK611, RKO6, RKO7, and it says it's 22 sectors per track. Why would we see the formatter trying to access tracks greater than track 22? If that's what it thinks that the drive is.
It thinks it's an RKO7.
It is an RKO7.
Well, RKO7 also has 22 sectors per track, according to the table.
Is it an octal?
That's a good question.
Ooh.
It prints a decimal point after each one, which is DEC for this is a decimal number.
Also, I think we saw sector 19. That's the new octal.
Yeah, it says you get 64 switch selectable combinations of disk drive configurations. I take it you've already checked that switch like 100 times?
It depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about the drive? Or are you talking about the...
I believe it's for the Emulex, if I read this right. This is all in the stuff that Bob pasted into the chat room.
Yeah, so the Emulex dip switches, I am 99% sure are correct. I've been over those 15 times over the past 3 days. The only thing that I never changed were the ones that said don't change and this sector interleave, because I thought that sector interleave was not going to make a big difference. But since that's one of the only things that I haven't changed, you know, might as well give it a shot, right? I also haven't tried changing to different interrupt vector address, but again, I feel like that's not necessary.
No, if that was it, you would have gotten, I can't find this controller doesn't interrupt, messages of that sort.
Yeah, so everything else is set correctly, except for head offset capability, which is not something that we want to do. I'm moderately confident on that. It allows certain controllers to offset the head for diagnostic purposes, I'd imagine. All right, well, we're formatting with 2-to-1 interleave. We're doing disk 0 right now. Again, we're still soft sectored. And we are set to a 2312. I can change it to hard sectoring and set the number of sectors to whatever we want, but it shouldn't matter because the Emulex card is going to do a translation to whatever the RKO6 should be.
Yeah.
So if this crashes and burns, we'll load up an XXDP image and try to run an RKO7 format utility. If y'all know what that format utility is.
I think I know.
Sorry to be stupid. What is the drive again?
2312, Fujitsu 2312.
Thank you.
Right, excellent. E11234 We get back 2226, which is correct for format complete. Then we do this whole rigmarole. 2, 3, 4 again. 450 40. D1 1 2 3 4 4 5 0 0. Nope, I want to do a 1. No, it doesn't like that. D1 1 2 3 4 5 0 1. D1 1 2 3 4 4 4 0 2003. We examine 1 1 2 3 4 4 4 0. That gives us 2202 back, which is correct. And we do a D1 1 2 3 4 4 6 2 space 1 1 2 3 4 1. Then a D1 1 2 3 4 4 7 6 1 1 2 3 4 5. And then a D1 1 2 3 4 4 4 0 of 2027. And we're off to the formatting races again.
Okay, and just to make sure that this is also not an issue, the physical drive is at unit 0.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if it was at unit 1, we would, it wouldn't even see it.
Not necessarily. What would happen is that it would select and so on because commands go over the common cable, but when you tried to transfer any data either direction, it would try to go out the wrong radial cable.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the format wouldn't complete because I'm telling it to select unit 0.
It could be, but I don't know if the format or if hardware formatting on SMD actually transfers any data because it tells the drive to write the,
Oh, maybe.
Or no, that's not true. You would have to transfer the header data. So yeah, there would be a data transfer.
Yeah, you're right, Dave, that offset, that's right, was to deal with positioning errors. I think I remember reading that somewhere. I've done a lot of reading over the past couple of days, and I can't keep anything straight. Mike Uando, I have 2 of these Emulex cards, but one of them is very injured. It doesn't work at all. So really, I only have 1 Emulex card.
Although I've got a spare, so if we really need to, I can send a spare down.
The thing is, though, I don't think it's a problem with the card. Like, I feel like the hardware is working.
Well, 110% agree. I think the MLX card is working great. I think the drive is working great. I really think it's a format problem.
And I think I almost feel like it's an RSX format problem. Like, RSX is having trouble with it.
So it does say in the acceptance test for the RK06 / RK07 that the cartridge formatter that you're supposed to run for the RK06 is the same for both RK06 and RK07 cartridges.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to apply the patch for both. I think we should try it without the patch. In XXDP. Because it says in the RK611 manual that main deck 11 DZR6L writes and verifies header and data information on RK06K or RK07K disk pack at all possible disk pack addresses. Uses the bad sector file to 1. Report the serial number of the cartridge being formatted, and 2. Determine whether or not the cartridge is an alignment cartridge and abort the program if it is, and 3. Identify the sectors that are bad and be marked bad. So if this aborts while we're running main deck DZR6L, then we know we've got a problem with some format, something that's identifying it as a alignment cartridge.
But I mean, I feel like when we run the bad program, with the override, and it checks the bad sectors. So first of all, I've run that before, and it didn't error like that. I did it on the RK06, and it didn't error. I didn't have bad blocks on every error. Like, you'll see it in the video on Sunday. I had 27 bad blocks out of the entire thing.
Okay,
out of all 27,000 blocks.
Feels okay.
Yeah, which is like totally normal. But I was still getting, this is an alignment pack.
Okay.
Yeah, Roy, the radio cable, so the fat 60-pin cable was bad, and I've repaired it. But there's a chance that there's still something bad on it. But I feel like that wouldn't necessarily apply to the type of problem that we're seeing. I mean, I suppose it could. If maybe one of the address lines was bad. I don't know. I don't have the SMD pinout memorized.
I don't know either, but in a couple minutes time past, there was discussion. Oh, that goes through the radio cable and everything else goes through the common. I'm like, that's the only physical thing that exists. But yeah.
Yeah, with as much of it working as is, I feel like the cables are probably okay. All right, excellent.
I agree.
But I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't have any spares. Like, these are the only cables I got, so I don't know how we would test that.
Yeah, that's why I said unverifiable.
S1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, this is going to get us back into RSX 11 here. Let me share my screen. Oof. All right, the time and date. This is the worst part about this, is that I have to enter the time and date every single time. And you have to, like, type out the month. I hate that. All right, where's my cheat sheet over here? First of all, let's see if it still sees our drives. Yep, sees them as RK07s. That's good. All right, let's just start with a format DM0:. See if it complains to us about, yeah, it's an alignment cartridge. Okay, so let's do bad DM0:/OVR/LI and see if we get that same. No, that seems much more logical. Y'all are seeing this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of similar to what it was doing the first time when it was on the RK06. Which is kind of what I'm expecting. Like, 7 bad blocks out of 5,000 is pretty good. And this is going to be a lot more than, this is going to be 50,000 blocks. So we got some time to wait. Now we might try format override and see what that does next.
Okay, the other thing is that these are not at a repeating interval.
Yeah, these are just actual bad blocks.
So now the next question is then, if you repeat that format with override, will we see the same 10 block stride there, or will we see these blocks?
My guess is that if I do the format override, it's going to blitz the 10 block groups, and then if we run bad again after that, we'll see that 10 block pattern again. My guess is that the format override is blasting the blocks.
Now, is BAD going to write a bad block table to the disk?
Should.
Well, I think when it gets to the end, it will go, oh, this is an alignment pack, get lost.
No, we've run it before. So the first time I ran it, where, granted that was an RK06, and it was only 27,000 blocks, it just came back and said, 25 bad blocks found. And then that was it.
Okay, and then were you able to use the drive afterward?
Huh?
Were you able to use the drive afterward?
Nope. Same problem. Still thinks it's an alignment cartridge.
Oh, alright. So it didn't rewrite the bad block list then?
Or the bad block list is separate of where the alignment cartridge bit that sets something as an alignment cartridge is at.
That could be.
I got some potentially bad news. There is actually a pattern in that data. It's divisible by 245 in many cases. So if you look at the intervals, a bunch of them are factors divisible by 245.
How the hell did you notice that?
Well, so I'm not Kim Peek. I just took all those numbers and I put them in a spreadsheet, took the difference between them and noticed that number showing up. So then I took all the other numbers that were not 245 and then tried to divide them by 245, and they're all integer fractions of it.
What does that mean?
I don't know. But it's a little implausible.
It could be that.
Hold on. No, this is gonna. Okay, you know what 245 is? It's exactly one cylinder on the physical drive.
Okay. Could
35 sectors per track, right? On the
Yeah.
physical drive? Okay,
And how many
yeah.
surfaces?
35 times 7.
Oh.
Because there's 7 heads. 245.
Could this have
okay.
something to do with the sector dip switches on the drive itself?
It could if they're not set to 35.
Well, you don't set them. You don't set them to 35. You do an entire math equation.
Oh, because yeah, it's going to be determining the timing of the sector. Anyway, it has to work out to 35 sectors per track.
All right, so there we go. We got a total bad blocks of 30. DM0 is still loaded. Now I can allocate it. We've been able to do that before. And it'll say private loaded. Now if I run format on DM0, it thinks it's an alignment cartridge. So if I run format on DM0 with the override, I'm willing to bet that it's going to be upset. I'm willing to bet that it's going to go through the full format, which is going to take whatever 2 minutes or however long it takes. And then during the verify stage, it's going to spit out like we were seeing.
If it does that again, we need to reconfirm the sector settings on the drive itself, because if they don't match what the controller thinks the drive is presenting as, it may be losing headers.
Now, okay, so here's a thought. If the last track and last sector of the disk is what identifies it as an alignment pack, if that track and if that sector doesn't exist because the dip switches are set wrong, could the controller be trying to go to a sector that isn't there, getting back junk, and RSX thinks, oh, it's not all zeros, or it's not all ones, or whatever. This is an alignment pack.
Yep. Or it could be giving all zeros or all ones, And that is well, maybe all ones, because I know it doesn't throw a fit on all zeros, but it may be doing a read sector header command and getting gibberish. But yeah, since these are an integer multiple of cylinders, I'm willing to bet one of the things it says is bad is the special block, because that would make sense. First block, last cylinder. That would do it.
There's also an offset too. You're actually offset in by 8 sectors, I think. Looking at this data.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna be back in a second.
All right, so once this fails, there's something that I want to double check, because I think when this fails, it's going to blitz 10 sectors or 10 blocks in the middle, and then if we run bad again, those same 10 blocks that this thing blitzed are going to show up as bad blocks. That's my theory, at least. But I think we also need to revisit, after that, I think we need to revisit the dip switches on the drive itself. Which means I'm going to need some help with the math, because I did the math, and I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. No, I didn't get it wrong. I got it close. I was off by 1. Everything I do in life, I'm off by 1.
Okay, I'm back. What happened?
Nothing. We're still waiting for the format to finish. So I want to test. I want to test something, and then we'll visit the sector dip switches. So the thing that I want to test is when the format here. So I'm doing a format with the override. When it fails, I want to see if it fails in the same 10 block segments that it did before. And if it does, then I want to run bad again and see if those have now become bad blocks. I don't know what that'll tell us, but it'll tell us something.
It'll tell us that the format command that we are running at ODT level is writing the header information that the PDP-11 is supposed to be looking for. And so we, as a consequence, we should not have to run the format program in RSX separately.
Oh, yeah, okay. Look at you. Susan out here being the smart one of the bunch. Oh, yep, there we go. And that is the exact same 10 block collection. So this is the format command. I can do a Control-C, ABO, FMT. So we'll abort that, and then we'll run bad dm0:/OVR/LI. And I'm willing to bet that, yep, same 10 blocks are going to be bad. As soon as we get past however high it counted up, I bet you it's going to stop doing the 10 blocks are bad thing. Or
no,
not.
because it wrote all of the sector headers.
Yeah,
what
you're right.
What it was doing is trying to read and write data patterns to the disk to check if the actual sector is good.
Nope. I want to do bad here. Control-C, ABO, bad. Okay. So let's do a run $shut up. So we're going to turn this thing off right now. All right, so if somebody can double check my math, if somebody wants to do math here, the actual math is in the Fujitsu 2312 manual on page 3-41. All right, Cubone is shutting down. I'm going to spin the drive down. Cubone has shut down. I'm going to turn the PDP-11 off so, you know, I don't go deaf immediately. Some lazy clown watching on a 3-stream streak. Cool. All right, so who wants to double check my math here? Who's volunteering for that? Nobody. Silence.
No, hang
I
on.
mean, it's math. I'm actually having a hard time finding the PDF, but if I can find that, I'll look.
Oh,
at
it's
it.
in, if you go to my Discord in the Friday Night Twitch channel at the bottom,
Yep.
I put the PDFs in there. You may have to scroll up a little bit, but they should be in there.
Sorry, I was taking pills.
Well, I mean,
I hope they're good
My
ones.
kidney pills.
coming up with good excuses over here.
Yeah, not recreational pills. My kidney transplant pills.
I mean, you could pretend they're recreational. There's nothing stopping you from having a little fun with stuff you got to do.
Yeah, there was never when they were screening me initially. The guy brought me in. It was obviously a new guy because there was still the trainer there, and the guy looks at me and says, "Are you on any drugs?" And I said, "Which kind?" And he looks at me and he's trying to think of the words. I said, "I don't do any recreational pharmaceuticals, if that's what you mean." And then he goes, "Oh," and he's like lights up. He says, "Oh, I like that. I'm gonna use that." So there's someone out there repeating that.
You don't
Yeah.
patronage any independent pharmaceutical companies?
Do what now?
You're not a patron of any independent pharmaceutical companies?
Not that I'm aware of, because all the stuff that I get is patent encumbered.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah, Meltdown, that's what I was
Obviously.
thinking too. If I set it to soft sector mode, we shouldn't have to do the math, which is strange.
No, because the when you are formatting the pack, it's going to use the internal clock for it.
Yeah, so visiting these dip switches feels unnecessary to me, but like I'm fresh out of ideas at this point.
So which page of the manual were we looking at? I assume this is in the 2312 manual, or?
Yeah, it's in the 2312 manual on page 3-41. Although I think the explanation of why you're doing this is on 3-40. Dash 39, 3-3. I've printed out too many things. There it is, 3-40. So sector count configuration switches, SW2 and SW3 are located at A26 and A24 respectively. Each key of SW2 and SW3 represents the binary powers of the byte clock as shown in 37-6. So calculation based on sectors per track. But I don't know, I don't remember if it said in the manual like, hey, you don't have to do this if you've got it set to soft sector.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what this is doing is it's setting up the timing chain for where sectors would start and stop. So when you are formatting the drive, it'll be giving you a sector start or stop pulse. And you would be using that to determine where you are writing on the physical gadget.
Yeah, I was trying to see if in the manual somewhere it said it had more information about what this sector count does. But either Ocular and Linux doesn't support text search, or it's not OCR'd because I can't search it. I think it's probably just not OCR'd.
No, this one is OCR'd.
Is it?
Yeah, because I can search it with the regular Adobe
Oh.
Reader.
I can search this one. Maybe the other one isn't OCR'd. Maybe the SC12 one isn't OCR'd.
Yeah, the SC12 one is not OCR'd, and I'm not signed into my work Adobe account from here, so I can't run real Acrobat on this machine. Otherwise, I could OCR it and pass it back to you. But if someone reminds me on Monday, I can do that at work.
Chrome will automatically OCR stuff, but it's not great.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Adobe has right for the moment until they inevitably replace it with AI. The OCR that has been in Adobe Acrobat for years now has been finely tuned to deal with people's crappy scans.
You're a little late. They already replaced it with AI.
Oh, really? When?
All I know is the new reader just wants AI this, AI this, that. It just won't shut up about
Okay.
it.
But have they? Okay, I understand they probably did it in Reader, but I'm talking about real Acrobat, the one you pay for. Did they damage real Acrobat in that manner? Because if they did, the government is going to have many, many four-letter words to say about
I
that.
don't know. I don't know that. I don't know if they changed the original algorithms.
Okay, so here on one of the pages it says the sector mark is derived from the servo track. The number of sectors per revolution is switch selectable and is determined by counting byte clock pulses. The switches are located on the VFO/PLO card within the PCB assembly. Each key of switch 2 and switch 3 represents a binary power of the byte count clock.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Okay, so first of all, we know how many sectors there are, right? 35, right?
Yeah, that's how many we want to make.
Particularly because that's what the that's also what the Emulex SC12 says.
Yeah, that's what the Emulex expects, and we have to make the two agree.
Yeah. Okay. So here's where the fun happens. Right. So the Emulex on the Fujitsu 2312 is 35 sectors. Okay. So you take 20,000. Pull up my, because it is after midnight, so I'm not doing any math in my head. So we take 20,480 and divide that by 35, right? That gives us 585.1428 and a lot of numbers. And it says, if the above calculation results in a remainder, truncate the remainder and add 1 to the integer portion of the number of bytes per sector. So then we go 585 plus 1 equals 586. Then we go down to step 3, and it says, configure switch 2 and switch 3 to number of bytes per sector minus 1 to allow for sector counter reset clock. So 586 minus 1 puts us back at 585. Now 585 in binary, I've got it written here, but I'm going to double check.
Now in the manual, they've got 586 with an arrow pointing to it, and the switch is broken out. Are you looking at page 3-42?
Yeah.
Okay. See the arrow to the left of 35, or is that only in my version of this scan?
No, yeah, I've got it too. So here's the thing. If you look at that, it says last sector is shorter by 30 tracks.
By 30 tracks? I thought that was
Or
by
30
30
something. 30 bytes maybe. Yeah, 30 bytes.
Yeah, it's short by 30 bytes. Mm-hmm.
Is this a fence posting problem?
I don't know what that means, but
Possibly.
Could be.
It's when you have fence posts, and the number of logs you need for the fence post is 1 greater than the number of logs you need between the fence posts. If you put in 1 log between fence posts.
okay. Let's see here. Okay, so we've got the set. So I've got the binary here is for 585 1001001001001. It's a palindrome.
Yeah. And that corresponds with their arrowed line, so that part sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it says, to determine how many bytes, if any, the last sector of each track will be short, multiply number of bytes per sector by number of sectors, and subtract 20,480. So essentially, we just did the math to what the default setting was. Right. So multiply number of bytes per sector, which I think is 2276. No, what was it? 586. So multiply 586 by 35, and we get 20,510 minus 20,480 equals 30 bytes. And if we look at their little thing here, that's exactly what it says. 30 bytes is short on the last sector.
That looks right.
So the question is, that's how it's set up. That's how it was set up when I got the drive. That's how it's still currently set up.
Right, and the important part is all of those numbers are greater than or equal to 512, which is the number of bytes that DEC expects to be in an RKO7.
Oh, so
There's
even
a
if
little
it's
arrow pointing at that on the table in the manual.
Yeah. So even if we're short 30 bytes, that's still greater than 512.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then I assume it's going to be 512 plus a handful for to store the DEC header information, but because clearly they're storing it because they're checking against it. But the question I have is this how your drive is actually configured? What's your actual SW2 and 3?
That, yeah. It's what it said. That's what it was when I got the drive. That's what I left it as. But I'm going to double check right now just to be sure. Or not. 201. So no, that is not how it was set. I left it how it was originally. For mine, SW2 key 1 is off. That's going to break a bunch of shit.
Is that the only difference?
Yeah. Other than that, it's the same.
Hang on, let me read.
Yeah. So key 1 was off. Switch to key 1 was off, which means that we would have been set for, where'd that math go? So switch to key 1 was off. We would have been set for 584. I feel like that shouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
No, hold on. No, that's not right. Is this Indian the other way around? Hold on. So you had 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1.
So switch to key 1 is the least significant bit. You can see that it shows that in a step number 3 there.
Okay, then if I'm looking at the table 377, switch 1 is the most significant.
No, I think they've just drawn it backwards.
Oh, all right. So in the drawing, I'd be looking for 1001, 000, 001.
Yeah. Because all the most significant bits, if you read it left to right, with least significant on the left, most significant on the right, then all the most significant bits are 0, which makes sense for 586 bytes per sector.
Is it just me, or the next page somebody physically corrected this?
Wait, so if 1 was off, we would have had it set to 1 lower byte per sector? That should make 0 difference, I feel.
Yeah, no. I think you wind it up with, hold on. I think you wind up with no, that's not right either. No, you would drop by a whole bunch because you are 4 bits into the total count. You're going to be off by 128.
Wait, how do you get that?
Looking at the top of page 3-42, switch to number 1 is 128.
Oh, no. That's for the VAX. That's for... Oh, no, that's for a calculate on bytes per sector.
Right. So you're going to be off by 128 bytes per sector.
How were we calculating? We were calculating on sectors per track. Yeah, you're right. So the last sector might be a lot shorter.
Either
but this is
either shorter or missing entirely.
All right, well, let's click it on and see what happens. All right, so now it's clicked on and it is set to 35. You know what's funny is in the video, if this works, by the way, I don't think it will, but if it does, in the video, I actually specifically, oh no, I cut that bit out. Right, that ended up on the editing room floor. In the video, before I got cut happy, I actually specifically called these out, and the math that I did, I was like, I feel like this one should be on, but it was originally off, so I'm going to leave it off. All right.
And it's like it never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up, Cookie Kicks? I think that's how you say your name. Welcome, first time chatting.
Yeah, you would wind up with only 458 bytes in the last sector of every track.
Which might be where disk alignment stuff is held, or the alignment pack stuff is held.
Well, not only that, because then the timing is so far off compared to what the controller expects, you would accumulate that little error at each sector pulse as far as the controller is concerned. So that may be why you're only making it 10 sectors in before the sector pulses are too far out of tolerance with what the controller wants. And so it declares those to be missing. When you are reading, the clock is provided by the drive, but when you're writing, the clock is provided by the host. That's why they have to agree. Everything that's the whole problem with emulating SMD. If you wanted to make an SMD drive emulator, it is super timing specific. Everything is magic timing.
Well, and you mentioned that it would be the last sector of every track that would be short, and that matches what Bad Blocks reported the first time it was run before the format was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. The thing Bad was reporting is the last one of every cylinder, not track.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I think we got to go through and run. Okay, so we can theorize all we want, but if this doesn't fix the issue, then all of our theories are wrong. So let's fix the issue. Let's see if it fixes the issue. I think what we're going to have to do is reformat again, run the formatting utility for all 3 drives again, and then we'll jump in and see how it goes.
Yeah, what we would do is run the format utility. That is writing sector headers. Then see if we can run Bad without issues.
first running it normally and seeing if it still complains that this is an alignment pack, but also running it in the override if we must, to verify that that we see the same silliness.
All right. Eventually, the Unibone will boot up. There it goes. Welcome to life, Unibone. All right, that then unlocks my NPG here. And then I will just go through and start formatting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 0. This is about the 50th time I've done this, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0, 2003. Examine that one back. Gives me 2202, which is correct. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 462 gets 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 476 gets 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0 gets 2027. We are now formatting the RK07 again. Oh man, I hope this fixes it. Like, I'm gonna be so excited if this fixes it. I might actually refilm something in the morning, film a new ending in the morning. Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe not. I would very much like this to fix it too, because after this, I'm pretty much out of ideas.
Yeah, yeah. This is where, like, Mark and I spent probably 4 hours on this, 5 hours on this between, well, no, we spent like 2 hours on this morning and about 3 hours yesterday. And we're both just like spent. We got no more ideas.
Yeah, and after this, you get into physical phenomena, like, is the terminator on the common cable good, that kind of crap.
Yeah.
I don't think the radial cable needed a terminator because it was explicitly point to point. But
So the 2312 talks about what needs termination, and all the resistors are in place. The 2312 manual.
Okay.
So I've just done with the 20. I just verified what the 2312 manual was saying.
Yeah, somewhere around here I have an actual external SMD terminator for running multiple drives in a Lambda, but it's in a drawer somewhere to keep it safe, and I've forgotten where the safe place is.
Meltdown, I'm seeing your question way late, but the sector mode switch 6 is set to soft sectoring. I had tried it on hard sectoring before when we were doing just the RK06s, and it had the same failure mode.
Yeah, all that would do is just change whether the drive was expected to provide clock in both cases or only in the read case. In both cases, the controller still has to know about the difference. So you would use that switch if you were using this drive with a controller that was meant for a fixed sector drive.
Yeah. Endershiru, yeah, troubleshooting systems like this is definitely time consuming, but back in the day, you had the people who made the stuff on call, which made stuff a lot easier.
Yeah, back then, where your bread and butter was the support contract.
Yeah.
And this was, well, for one, we would not be doing this at 12 in the morning on a Sunday morning. But,
yeah.
No, we would have field circus up here trying to figure it out instead of us.
And those dudes would do this, you know, they do it all the time, right? Like the Emulex guys would know this stuff inside and out, so they would know the things to check.
Yeah, Emulex's guys probably. The quality of the average deck field servoid degraded pretty sharply as the 80s grew on, and they had more of an emphasis on making the customer just buy new machines versus fixing the ones they had. Because as we got into the VAX era, DEX management started to see field service as a loss, because every machine, I don't remember who said this, was one of the regional department heads of field service was told every machine repaired is a sale loss.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, Meltdown, I initially thought that was the only time that Switch 2 and Switch 3 were looked at as well, as like if you had it set to hard sector. But what Suzerain is saying is making a lot of sense. So hopefully Suzerain is 100% correct and this just solves it.
Yeah, I'm supported by the manual describing the manual's description of the timing chain as well. So.
Yeah. What we're doing right now, though, is we're reformatting, because whatever the format that we did before would have been broken. So, all right. So if this works, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I got nothing to do while I'm sitting here formatting. So if this works, I've only got 3 days next week to film and edit a video. So maybe I'll do a short video of it works. We now booted RSX off of the drive, which is what I wanted to achieve in last week's video. And this is what it took to get it done.
Ollie.
Is that Coley?
He's snoring.
Somebody mute him. I was trying to figure out who was snoring.
I was trying to figure out what the heck the sound was.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm going to have to snip that and send it to him tomorrow.
Truly epic moment.
I don't get how people can just fall asleep like that. I certainly can.
I think maybe Dave, this is particularly boring material, so.
I know, right? Today's a rough day,
I don't
man.
make the rule.
No.
If you've been up long enough, yeah, what you don't want to do is, okay, there was one time I was at a customer, oh, hold on.
There we go. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 0, space 40. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 0, space 2. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0, space 3. Nope. W doesn't mean anything. E1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0. Should give me back 202. It does. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 2 gets a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 7, 6 gets a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And D1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 0 gets a 2, 7. And now we are formatting our third drive. Okay.
Third drive?
Yeah, so I got 2 RKO7s and 1 RKO6.
Oh, okay. All right. We're further.
And I gotta format them all separately.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll try to keep this short. We had a customer that was an agriculture operation out in the literal middle of nowhere. So their buildings and so on were the highest place around for about a mile. They loaded and unloaded trucks, did a bunch of other stuff. They had 2 disconnected buildings.
and they needed to run coax Ethernet between the two. Their contractor got behind. They needed a trench dug. The trench didn't come up fast enough, so they got the idea to put a pole up and string it out the second-story window of one of the buildings and into a window on the opposite side. They did this, and everything was all well and good for about 3 days, until on a Friday late afternoon they called me in a total panic, and it was obviously the owner, who I was acquainted with well at the time, on a payphone saying, "Get out here quickly, we've taken a lightning strike, everything is dead, the fire department is here, we need you." So my employer sent me out with 2 other people, and we got there and found out the lightning had struck the Ethernet more or less at its center where it was held up by the pole. There was a several-foot section that had evaporated. From the Ethernet, it propagated into the building wiring, blew up the phone system, blew up the fire alarm, blew up the computers, everything. It was there, working to repair things, from Friday afternoon until early Monday morning. And as I was leaving, I lost memory of what was happening after telling them, yeah, everything is working enough to get you through the day, and more things are coming. My 2 coworkers had screwed off late Friday and left me alone for the entire weekend. I was thoroughly exhausted. And then I woke up later in my car, thinking, how did I get into my car? And then a couple days later, the owner came to my office and said, yeah, we have beautiful security footage of you walking into the lobby, stopping by the front door, and then just falling on the floor. One of the truck drivers coming in almost tripped over you, and we carried you out to your car. And I slept there until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then drove home.
All right, we'll try bad DM0 without any qualifiers on it. Maybe I'll do a -li so we can get a list out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So it still thinks it's an alignment cartridge.
All right. So now force it, and we want to see if that pattern repeats or changes.
Yeah. It's definitely a different pattern. Because we had a bad block on 0. That's new. It's also a lot more bad blocks.
Right, so what's the pattern here?
That's a lot more bad blocks.
23 to 58 is 35. 58 to
35 sectors per track.
Yeah, 933 to 968 is 35. 968 to 1003 is 35.
The interesting part is it got affected by the switch.
Yeah, it did.
Yes. Yeah, it got affected by the switch, and also, it's the same. What we're doing is instead of 1 bad block per cylinder, we're seeing 1 bad block per track.
Yeah, I feel like we're barking up the correct tree. We're just not there yet.
Right. What I'm thinking is, what we did was we went. Hold on. Let me find that table again.
I mean, we're set to exactly what the table says is 35. Should we set to 36?
That's what. Okay, we went from unknown to 35 to get this. What happens if we do 36, which is this? Yeah, what 36 is identical except for switch 2.
No, 36 is not identical. Oh yeah, switch 2 is not identical. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's the same switch 3 setting, just switch 2 is different.
Yeah, and that bumps us up to 589. Do not use block 0 bad. Do not use a system disk.
Yeah. And then the bad file overflows.
Okay, so yeah, let's see what happens if we go up one to 36 tracks and then
Okay.
reformat.
Obviously, we're not going to use it as system disk because it's an alignment cartridge.
I know, right?
Hey, Suzerain, why aren't we going directly to like 512 bytes per second?
Because
Go ahead.
because we would wind up with an even weirder number of.
Oh,
So
I
what
didn't
we're
need
trying
to.
do is we're trying to match how many sectors and so on the controller thinks this drive has. And it was set for 35.
Well, I was
And,
actually set for something weird. We just set it to 35.
No, I mean, if you look at the SC1, the SC12 manual, it thinks this drive should have 35 tracks or 35 sectors per track.
Yeah.
So we're trying to match the controller's configuration with the drive's configuration.
0, 0, 0. Then 1, 1, 1, and then a 0. Boy, those don't feel great.
Yeah, I hope we don't have a bad switch throwing things off too. That would
That's
just
entirely
be hell.
possible. I mean, I've had it happen before. It's interesting that we were getting a bad block every, and it started at 0, which is what's interesting to me.
Yeah, so we're losing at the start rather than we moved the error from the head to the tail, and instead of once per per track, it was once per cylinder.
Now, if we set it, like, this is my naive brain talking here, but if we set it to 36 sectors per track, and the controller only tries to use 35, that's not going to break anything. It's just not going to use that 36 sector.
I don't know. I think it would throw off the timing tolerance in the other direction. We would have to try it
maybe.
and see. Now, the other thing that bugs me is if I look for the configuration that we originally had.
It's not on that list. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on this list.
Yeah. Because I remember searching for that configuration as well, didn't see it on the list, and went, well, that was how it was when I got it, and presumably the thing was pulled from a working system, and I don't imagine that anybody would have messed with it since, but who knows. I blame Coley because he's asleep, and I can blame him. Yeah, I don't know what that setting would have done, would have put it as, but it's certainly not one of the sector intervals they show it as having.
Give me a second. I'll work it out. I'll work backwards from the clock rate, because we know how this generates the clock rate.
It's alright. Take your time. It's going to take forever. I didn't need to turn off the PDP-11, but I powered off the Unibone out of, like, habit. And I don't know how to power the Unibone back on, short of turning the PDP-11 off and on. But either way, it was going to take forever for the Unibone to boot up. Yeah, Meltdown. That's Meltdown. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to format just the first one, and we'll test it in RSX. So that way, and if it works, then we'll go back and format the other two. But I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to throw us an error in a different direction. But we're in an interesting position for sure. Oh my gosh, I just realized I've been sharing my boring ass screen the whole time. Sorry. D1234440 space 2003. 1 2 3 4 4 6 2 1 1 2 3 4 5 D1 7777 476 space 1 1 2 3 4 5 and then D1 1 2 3 4 440 gets 2027. We are now reformatting to theoretically 36 sectors per track. Yeah, Telenoc, that would probably be the smart thing to do. But I don't know how well that, well, yeah, I don't know. I'm using Minicom, so. Yeah, script is probably the correct thing to do. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it would take me longer to figure out how to write a script to work in Minicom to do this for me than it would just be to just type it out. But that's probably not true.
Is there any chance?
Bob, you're breaking up. You gotta say that again.
Sorry about that. Is there any possible chance that the board, the SC12 board, is misconfigured?
No, I don't think so, because we're seeing it as an RK07, an RK07, and an RK06 within RSX, which is how I've got the board configured. So if I had the board misconfigured to different drive types, we wouldn't get that. As far as the other switch settings, outside of those, we've been over those a bunch. The only thing that we're unsure of is the interleave. We changed it from 3-to-1 to 2-to-1, which changed our where our bad blocks live. But also so did changing the one dip switch. That changed our bad blocks from being one every 450 or whatever it was that Tube Time came up with to one every 35.
So how do you remember what configuration line you're using?
Yeah, I'm using I can tell you 11. So the 2 RK07s and 1 RK06 with a key of 589-07.
Yeah.
Which should be 589 cylinders and 7 tracks, 35 sectors. That's what the Emulex is trying. That's what the Emulex is expecting the drive to be. Yeah, Meltdown, I'm not sure how the interleave would affect the error that we were seeing. It definitely feels like, you know, we're playing around with this concept of the wrong number of sectors or something. So the interleave did change things, I think, if I remember. Well, no, okay. So the interleave, I don't know. We don't have a good pre-interleave change comparison point because we didn't notice the pattern in bad until after we changed interleave. So I don't have a good answer on that one. We're still formatting, by the way. I mean, I feel like 35 was the setting it's supposed to be at. Which then makes me wonder if the dip switch is bad. So I can go back and check that after we spin the drive down once. Okay, that finished the format. Let's go back to you guys see on my screen here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting back into RSX here. All right, let's install bad. Let's do a dev on a DM colon. Yeah, it does still see our drives. Let's do a bad on DM0/li. See if it still thinks it's an alignment cartridge. VR/li. It's a different pattern. 7, 8, 11, 19, 20, 23. Hang on, let me quit out of this. So we've got a new pattern now. 7, 8, 11, 19, 20, 23, 42, 43, 46, 54, 55, 58, 77, 78. So we get 2 in a row, and then we jump 3. And then we jump again 8, and then we get 2 in a row. And that's consistent. Not
Wait,
8,
so what was that interval again? It was 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42?
7, 8, what numbers did you come up with? Good Lord. 7, 8, 11, 19, 20, 23, 42, 43, 46, 54, 55, 58, 77, 78, 81, 89, 90, 93, 112, 113, 116, 124, 125, ad nauseum.
A lot of those are adjacent, which is interesting, but the original numbers that I mentioned are actually from the TV show Lost.
Oh, they were close enough to these that I thought you just had misheard.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm back. What did it wind up with? Oh, that looks really weird.
Yeah, it's broken for sure.
Okay, so what about the, well, no, the other direction shouldn't work at all.
Yeah, so I think
Anyway, yeah, I came up with, I did the math. I got called away. Anyway, I did the math. Let me get the binary counter value was 577 originally, and that works out to 35 with a longer subtraction at the end. So I don't know why 35 in and of itself would screw up. What I'm wondering is if we do 35 but have the divider at the end, the short sector counter, to give it a little bit more time in the last track.
Well, all right. I'm going to set it. First things first, I'm going to set it to 35 and then double check the dip switch. To double check the continuity on the dip switch to make sure that, we don't have a bad dip switch boning us here. Like maybe one of them is just not making connection.
Oh yeah, that would be a point.
Yeah, I mean, I've had dip switches go bad on, you know what? I'm going to turn the 1144 off while I do this because it's just going to make me deaf.
Yeah, not only that, if your tool slips or something like that.
Yeah, probably not the best idea.
Well, I got the drive off, so there's no power down here, but the 1144 is still up here running. It's just so loud. All right. I'll lower the camera a little bit so you guys can kind of see the drive now.
So when is the episode with the knock to a fan mod going to happen?
It's these are weird 35 volt AC fans. Yeah, let that sink in for a little bit.
So you put on a full bridge rectifier and you put three 12-volt fans together.
Yeah, or it could be worse. They could be the muffin size 120 volt fans at the bottom of the catter door.
Could be like the was it 15,000 RPM fans that they had on Linus Tech Tips that shredded carrots?
Yeah, yeah. All right, what's my setting again here? If I want to go back to, let's go back to 35, because I feel like 35 is what it's supposed to be at.
1001001001001.
1 on key 7. Yeah, so key 1 is 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, then 0, 0, 1, which is going to be key 1, 2, and 3 on switch 3, and then 0, 0, 0, 0 all the way out. And just to double check that that is indeed switch 2 and switch 3. Yep. Now here comes the $1 million question. Let me loosen these guys up. Let me pop my cables out here for a second. And then you come all the way up. All right. There's all sorts of fun bodge wires on the back of this thing. All right, so you're switch 3, which should be 001. Okay, so switch 3 is fine. So switch 2, wait, now I'm all confused. You're switch 2. So 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. Yep, those are correct. I don't think we have any dip switches or settings on this bottom one. We do have some jumpers on the bottom board. I don't know what they would be used for. Presumably stuff that we don't want to mess with. We also have jumpers on the top board too. All right, well, as Meltdown was suggesting, maybe we go back to hard sector as well. So we set it to 35 and we switch 6 to hard sector. Pretty sure it's switch 6.
We'll be able to compare.
Yeah, because we were at 35 before. I mean, there is still a possibility that the dip switch was not behaving correctly. Let's see, you're off, you're on, you're off. Okay, let me double check that dip switch too. There should only be one on, which is the 2312 switch. Should be switch 4. Yep. So why is switch 5 showing connection? What is switch 5? Switch 5 is tag 45 enable. All right, if I'm measuring this correctly, switch 5 is showing as on when it's not. I don't know how that would affect anything. Oh, I wasn't measuring that correctly. I was measuring an IC. All right. Four is good. Well, okay. Okay, yep, those switches are fine. All right. All right, we'll call this the last hurrah. If this doesn't fix it, we'll throw in the towel. I mean, it sounds like, given the amount of silence, it sounds like everybody else is throwing in the towel as well.
No, I think we're on the right track. I'm trying to do the math to figure out where exactly that time, or how exactly that timing chain works.
All right, so for this final test, we are set to 35, which is 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 1 0 0 0 0. And we are also set to hard sectored, but we are in 2312 mode. So let's bring the PDP-11 up. Let's bring the drive up. Let's wait for the Unibone to boot. Yeah, man. Yes, snow cones. The PDP-11, I've been trying to hard drive the PDP-11 for 4 months, 5 months, something like that. Just can't get there. We are so close. Like, RSX-11 sees the drive, but something is just not right. Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. This is, we're at a solid brick wall here. Project's complete. Old helicopter's radio is working perfectly. Just need to align it now. Congratulations, man. Radio stuff is beyond me. I don't know how to do any of that. That's like special RF magic wizardry.
It's just analog instead of digital.
Yeah. Which is insane stuff.
I when I was going through avionics A school in the Navy, I was quite impressed by the way a super heterodyne receiver works. It was just kind of elegant.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think I got it figured out. The numbers given in the summary are wrong. The bits are inverted. The most significant bit is switch 3.
Oh, that's interesting. All right.
Switch 3, which switch, which toggle?
Bit 3. Well, might not be. Hang on. No, it goes all the way out.
What's interesting is for this time of night, there are still 53 viewers on Twitch.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Dang. At 1 a.m.? Watching us fail for 3 hours straight? You guys are nuts. We're formatting again. We're formatting the first drive. 7 a.m. for you, Maiku Ando. He might be in Japan. No, Japan's way, way, way different than 6 hours. What time is it in Japan?
Yep.
Japan is 4
That's just
p.m.
supposed to-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's European time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I left you a picture of the radio, and it's 15 tubes on your Discord, in the tube channel. Excellent. I will check it out in the morning, snow cones. Because the moment I stumble inside, I stumble straight to bed after these. 3 p.m. in Western Australia. So we got Australia, we got Europe, we got Canada, we got the US, both coasts. Or we had both coasts until Coley fell asleep. Or Bob, we got Bob. He's on the other coast.
I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still awake. We got anybody from South America in here? Yeah, 11 p.m. It's still early in Cali.
Hey, Dave?
Yeah, what's up?
Are those 7-bit switches?
The dip switches, yeah. Yeah, they only got 7 toggles on them.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We got UK, we got Seattle, LA, Western Australia.
Reno, Nevada.
We got Texas, right here in the center.
I made a little note on general, 2 tech-related things. Airbus has had to ground 6,000 A320 aircraft because the flight controls malfunction during solar flares.
Jeez, okay.
And it's going to take days to update the software on all the planes involved. One airline, 320 out of 340 of their planes are Airbus 320s. So there could be some flight disruptions.
Yeah. Hopefully I can make it to Maryland, although I don't imagine I'm going on an Airbus A320 to Maryland. Or is the A320 the normal sized one, or is that the big one? No, the 380 is the big boy, right?
Yeah, the 320 is like its narrow body. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it could be an A320.
Yeah, it could be. And the other one is that Roscosmos damaged their launch pad during the manned Soyuz launch earlier this week, and that is their only pad rated for launching manned Soyuz missions and the Progress cargo missions for the ISS.
Oh, all right.
somebody left a 20-ton movable maintenance platform underneath the rocket instead of moving it out of the way and latching it in position. So the blast violently slammed it to the end of the track, derailing it and throwing it into a blast trench.
Jeez.
And they didn't have any. They didn't have anything that acted like sensors to show that it was locked in position before launching. Like they just.
It's all manual, and it's all, you know, that they've always checked it, and you know they always have moved it out of the way and latched it before, but somebody forgot this time, and they're going to have to dismantle another pad to get the materials to repair that one, and so it'll be anywhere from a few months to 2 years before they'll have manned launch capability again.
And fuel.
The biggest problem is that they have to kind of reset the gyros on the space station every so often, and I think it's the Zvezda module, or Zavaya, that has to be refueled by Progress in order to provide the counter torque while those are spinning down.
Yep.
So,
But they tested alternate means of propulsion recently, but I don't know if attitude maintenance is doable.
yeah, what they tested was restoring altitude. The Dragon, they added rockets in the trunk and proved that they can boost the altitude using Dragon, which is good. But this recentering, when they have to redo the gyros, which is like every 6 months.
Just send another Boeing capsule up there. The explosion will push it back where it needs to be.
Well, there is news on the Boeing front this week too. Boeing's next capsule launch at the earliest will be April of next year, and it will be a cargo-only mission. It will not be manned.
Yeah.
Yeah, Meltdown. It didn't seem to change it. It's interesting that we started at 0 and went to 23, which is not 35 blocks. But once we got to 23, it's every 35 blocks.
Hey, you got me here, Dave. I'm as East Coast as you can get.
Yeah.
On an island out in the ocean. Sort of.
Yeah, I'm running real low on ideas here. We got a problem every 35 blocks.
Yeah, and we went to 36, it got weirder. What if we tried 34?
All right.
The only other thing I can think of is tuning the remainder after 35.
Yeah, I don't really know how you do that. That's what I think we would probably need to tune. That's what I'm thinking is going on here.
Yeah, well, leaving the last switch like you had it initially, that was tuning the remainder.
Yeah, I think, let's see here, switch to, so I had messed with switch to key 1. If we go to 34, we get 603 bytes per sector with like a real weird remainder. I don't know, man. Something's weird here. So when we had switch 1 set, switch to, all right, so when we had switch to key 1 set, we only ended up with like 20 or 30 bad sectors total because we changed where they were bad at, right?
Yeah, they were all in the same cylinder.
Yeah.
That was the least amount of bad blocks we had.
By like a massive amount, yeah. So the question is what does that mean?
Shall we go back to that, but hard sectored?
No, because I tried that initially.
Yeah, true.
I don't think the hard sector, soft sector switch has anything to do with it.
Yeah, as far as it's my understanding, that should only control who's expected to provide what clock source during different data operations.
Yeah, Meltdown, I can scroll up. I mean, I kind of quit it early, but... Patrick, oh my God. I don't know where I think the soft sectors are written. I think the whole thing is technically soft sectored because you have one track that is, or you have one platter that's dedicated to servo. So I don't think Sector 0 is bad because we've seen Sector 0 not be bad when we've got the dip switches set differently. I think what's happening is we've got a timing issue. So we're shifting the timing around and it's missing a sector someplace, and we just so happen to have it shifted to a point where Sector 0 is missing right now. No, the syntax error, snow cones, the syntax error was my fault. I typed DM capital O instead of DM 0. So that was all me. that was me being dumb. That was me being 1 a.m. sleepy. Is what that was. Yeah. At any rate, it's like 1:15 in the morning. We could try one more check, but that's going to push us till after 1:30. And I think we're just going to keep making mistakes and getting more and more frustrated with it. So I think I'm going to spin it down and throw in the towel for the night.
There is the possibility that if you put out the video and you make a note at the end of the video that you track down to this issue, somebody in the comments will come up and say, "Oh, I know how to configure that."
Yeah, well, so the video ends with me essentially saying we hit a brick wall. If anybody's got an idea, let me know. But we haven't, the video, I hadn't figured out that it was related to sector sizing. But also, I think maybe it's good that we don't give them the information that we discovered tonight and let people be a little more open-minded about what the problems can be, because that might push us in a new direction.
True, I want tunnel vision on this issue just in case it is something else.
Yeah. Alright, I am gonna run $show. Well, I can't backspace.
You know, they say driving while tired is equivalent to driving drunk. Does this mean that you're operating the computer drunk?
Practically. That's what it feels like. I'm beat. I'm just so tired of digging with this, man. Like, it started on Tuesday. I was like, Tuesday, we're going to get this thing formatted and booting RSX. Here it is, Friday night. Zero progress whatsoever.
I would be more astounded if it was flawless and just worked.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
The closest that you've had to that with this system is probably getting the Unibone running.
Now, even that was like fraught with headaches because some of his like Unibone, some of the Unibone image files that Mark has on there just will not boot, will not play nice. So we had to make a new dedicated RSX11 file specifically for this so the Unibone would boot. Like, that took a full day. It took a full day just to try to get the Unibone to load up RSX11.
Well, and then you have the Grant issue with the Emulex card in that one slot. So
Yeah, yeah, and then we had that on top of it, which was also fun. Let's do a Control A X.
has there been anything on the 1144 that's been easy?
The TU-58 was relatively easy. Okay, actually, let me say the TU-58 emulator was relatively easy. I haven't actually tested a real TU-58 tape yet.
I was going to say it was straightforward. I wouldn't say it was easy.
Yeah.
Because the baud rate and the cabling and anyway.
Oh yeah, that was comparatively though.
Yeah, well, compared to
3
this.
weeks or something.
Yeah.
I mean, this had the power supply that was fighting you epically. You know.
Oh, the power supply on this actually went decently smooth. Oh, you mean the 1144? Yeah, the 1144 power supply kicked my butt 6 ways to Sunday. Yeah, I will say, knock on wood, I haven't had to troubleshoot any of the CPU cards. I did have a bad CPU card. I forget which one it was, but one of the 7 that make up the CPU was bad, and but I had a spare, so I swapped it out. And that got the CPU up and going. I had the backplane issue where I had the different backplane in there and I didn't know it. So I was missing certain voltage rails.
Yeah. And you've got the big backplane issue coming up with the FPS 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Of all the projects in this room, and all the projects that have left this room, this is the one that has given me the most grief.
But in a way, it's also one of the coolest.
Yes. I look at it and I'm just as like, I'm not ready to get my ass kicked today, man. Like, every time I look at it, I'm just like, all right, I got to prepare just for a beat down if I'm going to work on this thing.
But, I mean, the Centurion was pretty tightly integrated into one kind of set of hardware. This has so many iterations of so many combinations of flavors.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the problem that we're having may not be a problem if I had a different SMD controller card. I'm sure the Emulex SC12 isn't the only Unibus SMD controller card out there, but it's the only one that I've got.
Yeah, and if you'd had any luck with your other drives.
Yeah, I know, right? Like if the RA70 would have worked, there'd be an RA70 sitting in here and we'd be running it on SDI. If the other RA70 would have worked, if the spare board set I bought on eBay for the RA70 would have worked, if the RA72 would have worked, if the USDC SCSI controller card worked, I might be using the SCSI drive. Like, there's so many different things.
If we traded SCSI cards.
Yeah, but then it's like, I have no idea if the SCSI drive I have is good, and I only have one SCSI drive. But I'm still I'll still send you that SCSI card. I'm at this point I'm pretty all in on SMD. I don't want to start over on the hard drive quest. We're so close. Like I feel like we're scratching at the solution. We just haven't figured it out.
Yeah, I think all we need to do is determine conclusively how this timing chain works. Did this drive originally come with this controller?
No, the drive came from Coley. The controller came from Houston. Like we're in a weird mishmash of parts from all around the country.
So the more I look at this manual, the more I think this manual might be just full of crap, because none of the math they give works out.
So I'm wondering if we need to be looking for another revision of this manual or something. Like earlier I thought, oh, maybe the bits are inverted. No, because even if they're inverted, their math doesn't work. Something's up with their description of sector counting, and we may have to reverse engineer it from the technical chapter later and then scope it to confirm it.
Yeah.
I mean, even table
Well-
3.7.7 on the next page, somebody scribbled out S2 and S3 and switched them side to side.
Doesn't the 2312 have schematics in it though? That's gonna be on this drive. Like we might be able to figure it out just by looking at how the dip switches, you know, what ICs they go to.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn that the 2312 manual had actual schematics in it.
Yeah, it has a technical breakout later, and so that may that may be what we have to look at.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different 2312 manual.
Because we need to figure out why that. We need to figure out why it was flagging the first of every cylinder, which means that we're only short on one track, either short or out of tolerance in some direction on only the very first or very last track in the cylinder group.
I see what looks like schematics. Are they for
Yeah.
this?
What page are they on?
358 and onwards?
Yeah, they're at the end.
350 onwards.
Yeah, they have board shots and everything later on.
Yeah, so if you can find switch 2 and switch 3 on the schematics, at least then you'll be able to tell what dividers they go into.
Yeah, and under what conditions those, or what signals those timers generate.
Yeah. They're on the CNZM board or whatever it's called. That's a lot of schematics.
Yeah, SMD was a pretty complex interface.
What page were the switch 2 and switch 3 mixed? I mean, is it possible that we just reverse the setting?
No, I think it was actually a mix. I misread. It's a mix-up. They put like switch 1, switch 2 instead of switch 2, switch 3.
And they repeated that error earlier when they're describing which bit corresponds to which switch. And they also did the switch description in a way that doesn't align with their table later.
Hey, in the SCO2 manual, it lists the 35 sector switch settings for the 2311 and 2312 in this Emulex manual.
And the SCO2?
Yes, I'm going to take a screenshot of it and paste it into the chat. Just a minute.
Okay. That's interesting, because the SCO2, that is also an SMD controller card, but it emulates a different drive, right? I don't think it does arcades. It does something else, right?
I'll have to go look for the info on it, but the fact that it has 35 sector switch settings for switch 2 and switch 3 on the drive, I mean, what are the odds?
That is very different, though. That's different than what we had set. So let's see if we can find that one in their list here and see what it says that it comes out as. What is that? 1110001.
The SCO2 is an RKO6, RKO7 compatible disk controller.
Okay. What would that have put it at? 111100001. That doesn't show up in their little table here at all. I don't think. I haven't seen it yet.
Line 45, sector 45.
Oh yeah, there you go. That sets it up to 45 sectors instead of 35 sectors, according to this table.
But switch 3 is different.
Oh, switch 3 is different. Okay, so it's not 45 then. All right, well, okay, so if we look at how they do their math, it could be multiple numbers, but I think switch 2 key 1 is going to be the least significant bit. So if I open up a binary calculator here, so, oh, what are you doing? Come back. Calculator, come back. So if we think of switch 2 key 1 being least significant, switch 3 key 7 being most significant, which is what the Fujitsu manual says. Oh my gosh, Linux, you're killing me here. All right, that would be 100100011. Nope. 001000111. That says this would set it to 583 sectors per sectors.
Bytes per sector?
Oh, bytes per sector, yeah. 583 bytes per sector is if you follow the bytes per sector math that they have up there, that would be 583. So 583 goes into 20,480 how many times? Oh my gosh.
35.12? 35.13? Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Because it's 35 sectors with not a deficit.
Yeah, but an extra.
With an extra.
Yeah, space.
Shit. God damn it. It's already 1:30. Now I gotta try this though.
Yeah.
I did that. I did a Google for Emulex SC12 Fujitsu 2312, and this was like the 8th result.
I never would have thought to check let's see here. That one 1110001. And then switch 3 is 001000.
This is also way off from what it had originally.
True.
Right? So switch 2 key 1 is on. Key 2 is on, key 3 is on, 4, 5, and 6 are off, 7 is on. And then switch 3, 1 is off, on, and then the rest are off. That's correct. All right. God damn it. Already closed all my terminals and everything.
Well, if even this doesn't work, the only other lead I can think of would be to look at that other Emulex that this was read compatible with and see if it has any switch settings in its manual.
This is the first one that seems like it makes some kind of sense to me because it's 35 sectors with a surplus, not a deficit.
Yeah. Now, the important thing to remember is that the sector length is longer than the real deck sector length. So when we say deficit, even counting the deficit,
we have surplus bytes in every sector.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dave,
but
I found-
but we don't know how the interleave is affecting that.
Yeah, does that, does that controller manual you're looking at have a recommended interleave?
I don't know.
I'm taking a look.
I
I doubt it.
I found the setting. It's line 36. It's inverted. It says it's 569. If this is what I think it means, that
This
means
is
that
time
on
line.
is 0 and off is 1.
Yeah, that's what, okay, yeah, the bits are inverted, but
This thing's saying switch
Yeah,
1, switch
yeah,
2,
the note
number
says
1
this.
is on. And so it's on. But if you look at line 36, it's the exact same pattern, but if the numbers are 000111 instead of the expected 111000.
I wonder if they got it backwards in the freaking chart.
Or that switch has just pull downs. I mean, like pull ups, and the switch pulls to ground.
I mean, at this point, I'm way more inclined to believe anything that Emulex wrote over anything that Fujitsu wrote.
Yeah, you know the bits are inverted because look at line 2, where you have 10 to 40 bits per sector. Count out how many clocks that is. And it's exactly, it's inverted. And then throw away the extraneous high bit. The same goes for all of the straight powers of 2. Look at 4096, look at 2048, and then watch them descend to the left.
Okay, on the interleave question, in the table for the SCO2, it recommends leaving it open, which is 3-to-1 interleave.
Okay, we're currently at 2-to-1, but if this
It may
fails,
just
I'll
cause
try
it to be
3-to-1.
slow.
Yeah. If this fails, we'll try it at 3-to-1 tomorrow or something, but
What were you doing differently?
Oh, we're leaving an extra zone instead of a short sector.
yeah. Instead of being down by 30 bytes, we're now up by like 15 bytes or something like that.
And these settings are from the SCO2 manual. So
Yeah. And I would say that they're not in the Fujitsu manual, but the Fujitsu manual is a hot mess. Like, nobody can make sense of their whole sector selection thing.
I mean, let's just try with this random configuration. Just remember that's what we tried.
I mean, I'm inclined to trust the SCO2 manual. Like, it says, hey, do this thing. It specifically calls out a setting for this drive and only this drive. Like, that's kind of a unique situation, which makes it sound like the Emulex guys were beating their head against poor documentation on the Fujitsu side.
what's interesting is in that paragraph it says for 32 sectors use the settings in the drive manuals, but for 35 use these settings.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like they were beating their head against poor documentation. All right, well, we're formatting. We'll see.
You know what else this could be doing? I just thought of. This could be inverting the clock signal.
Okay.
So that it would start, instead of starting
pulse and then going off pulse. It would start off pulse and then pulse sometime after the index marker.
Which might explain why we're getting a bad 0.
Possibly. So we would have shifted it to the other side of the first sector pulse.
All right, you guys should be able to see my screen now as we boot up. What's the over-under on this actually working?
Oh no, we copy-paste something from a random PDF from somewhere else. It's like pie in sky, but fun.
Yeah, at this point, I'm brain boiled, so...
It's 275 here.
Dead.
Yeah, brain boil is telling him.
All right, so here we go. $1 million. What are the? We'll just do a bad DM0 colon. It's an alignment cartridge. Bad DM0 colon slash OVR slash LI. $791 and 1036. That's way up there. And that doesn't feel like a pattern. 2506. Where's tube time to Rain Man his way into patterns here?
Is it me or are the numbers coming up more quickly?
It's hard to tell. It definitely feels like it's climbing through the numbers faster. Now the question is will bad here clear out whatever's on the last sector and make it not an alignment cartridge anymore? Or do we need to run format on top of this?
Or does it require that format from XXDP?
Yeah. The modified format from XXDP.
Or possibly not modified because this is RKO7, not RKO6. There's a lot of variables.
Yeah. I think we let bad finish here. And then I think what I'm going to try and do is, instead of format, do a mount initialize maybe.
Wow, it's like a 10,000 block gap there.
Yeah. So I think what we're actually seeing now are genuinely bad blocks. Oh, so somebody says, so there is still a pattern. 791 plus 245 equals 1036. 2506 plus 245 equals 2751. 4466 plus 245 equals 4711.
But those are examples inside of the suite.
Yeah.
And those could very well be bad spots on the disk.
Yeah, 245 was exactly one cylinder. That was the number we ran into before. Now, some of them are one cylinder apart, but not always.
Which is interesting and nice.
Right, so I'm wondering if this could be the interleave. Because that would explain, I mean, if it's just out by a little bit in timing, maybe flipping the interleave back will improve the timing. It may just be hitting a worst case.
Or this is good enough.
I don't know, I just want not an alignment cartridge.
You and me both, man.
Please let us write on this magnificent rust.
But and the fact there's that big gap of 10,000 is
Yeah.
what that's.
Well, we just now we had 36 283, 37 18, 37 508, and then another 3,000 gap up to 40,000 there.
Yeah, it's almost like these could actually be spots on the drive.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a lot, but
The only
How
big
old is
problem
it?
is
So hold on.
playing with switches changes stuff. We still don't know why.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
Hurry
not
up and-
winding up with exact multiples of 245. So some of them are not at.
So they're at the same spot in cylinders, but not all the same spots down the drive, which would be tiny.
Hold on.
I mean, 34 bad blocks out of 53,000 is not terrible. All right, let's allocate it, I guess. Allocate DM0 : let's mount it, maybe. Mount DM0 / foreign. Actually, let me mount it. That's good. Let's initialize it. I was able to mount it before, yeah. DM0 : space Usagi1 space / VI. This is where it always failed before. Oh, god damn it. Yes, INI DM0 : Usagi1 space / VI. Yep, still thinks it's an alignment.
Yeah,
Still thinks it's an alignment cartridge.
Also, the remainder is always the same if I take any of the error blocks and divide by 245.
Oh, so there's an offset.
Could be interleaved.
I mean, the fun part is we tested a positive remainder.
Yeah, it looks like it may be sector 8 into the first cylinder.
Oh, it's not force. I should have done this because I'm supposed to be going to sleep, but I'm curious if we get the same 10 block pattern out of the center when the format happens. Or if it's a different block pattern, or if there is no block pattern and the format was the answer. Who knows? I would prefer it to be that.
If this produces the same results, I'm inclined to believe that that's because this format program doesn't have whatever patch is recommended for the XXDP one. There must be some behavior change.
Yeah.
Either that, or it just needs a lower level formatting.
Well, you can't go lower than the one in the controller firmware.
What is XXDP?
It's
a diagnostic.
Yeah, it's a diagnostic supervisor. It's not even really a whole operating system. It's basically just a common library. It's a common library of functions that can be used by diagnostic programs.
It's extremely wide, like big. There's over 1,000 different diagnostics for all the different PDPs and stuff out there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
It's also overwhelming.
XXDP was not only run on PDP-11.
for the Vaxxon and the PDP-10s that had a PDP-11 as their front-end processor, XXDP could run diagnostics that would check out the interface to the bigger machine and then use that interface to run offline diagnostics on the bigger machine.
Like, reading some more of the SCO2 manual, it says that disk packs formatted with an SCO2/C controller are media compatible only with the SC12C or an SCO2C. So I think those dip switch settings should be correct for the SC12C.
It's kind of long and ugly, but I pasted in from GitHub Copilot, and I asked it, hey, can you tell me the settings for this drive controller combination? And it said, yeah, I need photos of a few things, and I need a couple of, what the bit switches look like. But yeah, I can tell you. I don't know if you want to try that.
I don't trust Copilot or any of those.
If we were going by what the AI said, then at the very beginning, whatever it is, told me that the drive is worthless, so throw it away. So if we're obeying the AI, just stop right now.
Okay. The SCO2 is the Q-bus version of the controller. The SC12 is the Unibus version of the controller.
There we go. I knew the O2 sounded familiar. So yeah, the dip switch settings should be the same. The only thing that should change is the bus interface. Actually, I might have... Oh, there we go. All right.
The only remaining hypothesis that is reasonable is that when you unseal that disk, it's an alignment cartridge.
No, that's not. Yep, that same. It skips
Yep.
the first one. Huh. Yeah, I'm willing to blame the formatter on that one.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
weird.
It might not want to touch like that part of the disk for some reason because it's just high level.
No. It's formatting the first, however, either 9 or 10 sectors of every disk okay, or every track okay, and then barfing on the rest.
That's not even barfing on the rest. It's barfing on 10 in the middle. So it's doing the first 10 sectors fine. It's barfing on 10 in the middle, and then it's doing the last 15 sectors fine.
Oh, all right. I thought we were repeating at the RPOs, or we were repeating at the cylinder interval of the RKO7.
No, we're going 10 to 21, and there's 35 sectors. All right.
Yeah,
Well, we gave it the old college try.
Yeah, an RKO7 is 22 sectors of track, so yeah, we're still got some that are winning at the end. Even.
Oh, the RK7. You're right. The RK7 is only 22 sectors. So you're right. It's doing 0 through 9 correctly, and then barfing on 10 through 21.
All right. Okay. No, I was gonna say we're getting 1 at the end, but I forgot we're starting at 0. Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Let's do Control AX. Let's shut you off.
Yeah.
All right.
We're
It is way too late.
definitely in the neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
all in this timing. We've just got to figure out how exactly that timing works and what the value really needs to be.
Yeah. And actually, we might be there on the timing right now. We just don't have a way to format the drive correctly. Because
I agree with that more.
the RSX formatter doesn't know what it's doing. Yeah. All right. I'm going to call it for the night. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching. We'll catch you on the next one.